going on there, jerk faces? It's your boy Andy, and you're watching Nocturnal Transmissions, brought to you by the Circle of Jerks podcast. It's our weekly live stream. We talk about current events, news, news topics. Sometimes we do little thought experiments, as
I
well
love
as
the
our
thought. I love the thought.
our movie review. Tonight's will be the last night of Revenge Month.
So sad to see it
We'll, it shall be avenged. We're wrapping things up with Prisoners from 2013, starring Hugh Jackman, Terrence Howard, Jake Gyllenhaal, Paul Dano,
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis. This movie is surprisingly star-studded, and even potentially star-studded because what's his face? He's not a A-lister, but what is it? His face, David.
He's in whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's in your favorite series.
Yeah, he's what is it? He was in oh no, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about David Dasmalchian. He was in he was one of the guys with the Joker with the
yeah, that's right. Yeah. He's a character actor. He's in a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, he's also in Ant-Man. He was recently in the new, the Suicide Squad, by James Gunn, which, we will be kind of talking about the news around James Gunn.
Yeah.
But all that in store. But with me as ever is the homeboy Rob.
Yo, what's going on?
Quite a lot of things going on right now.
It's been a very eventful week. I'm actually really I'm tired. I can't wait. I was really looking forward to today. But man, it has been since last week, it's been a non-stop roller coaster ride. Man, I can't wait for the month to end.
Yeah. I can do with a nap myself. Even for us, just this past week, we had quite a few things going on. We celebrated your wife's birthday. We celebrated another a friend of your wife's birthday.
Or her two friends, we all kind of had a kind of a big get together to hang out, have some good food, and it was a lot of fun. Although, man, my back really hurt after that. Those chairs that we were sitting on at that restaurant, although the food was awesome, I actually really did enjoy where we went. I think it was a good choice. But man, those chairs were so uncomfortable, and my back has already been kind of on edge the last couple weeks, and it just flared up again. I'm oh man. So I've been kind of not as bad, but man, it's really been bugging me since.
You're having spasms.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it is. I've been having back spasms for the last couple of days. Especially when I first get up. After I kind of get moving, it doesn't really bother me so much. But man, that first couple hours of the day just are brutal.
Right. Yeah, it was a good time, because and also what is it? One of your wife's friends' husband came back from a deployment.
Yeah. So it
was good to see him again.
They're also getting ready to move to a new. He's getting stationed somewhere else, and they're getting ready to move, and kind of sad to see them go. They're not going very far, but still, it's...
they'll still be within the state, but they just won't be as accessible as they once were.
Kind of sad to see.
But they're actually because he's going to be stationed in San Francisco. And my cousin, who's actually in the Coast Guard, she's stationed up there too. So, and I found out that he's going to be stationed at the Coast Guard base up there. So,
okay, nice.
So I told them that I would let her know, and if it's okay, to give them her contact information. So
But yeah,
yeah,
so that
just
was
so
that
I
was a
have
lot of
that.
fun.
Yeah, it was.
And you and I, we not to divulge any details, but we had you and I had like a really, I think, good conversation just about stuff that's kind of going on in our lives. And
Hmm.
we haven't really had one of those in a while. I mean, we talk every week, obviously, but
Right.
it's not necessarily about
Right.
um,
Things going on, and or political things, or cultural things, or whatever.
yeah.
It was more of a personal nature, and yeah, it was good. Rob is about a handful of people I turn to for counsel, and um, yeah, I
That
think
and I like it's. I always feel like I mean I'm very touched. It's like, man, it's like I don't feel like I necessarily provide a whole lot of wisdom, but I I think I do my best to
right,
not steer you in the wrong direction at least.
right. But that, well, yeah, but not to get too personal, but in this particular instance, you did have relevant, practical information, which did help me to weigh my options, and which will ultimately help me make a decision.
Yeah, and I know that no matter what decision you make, what we talked about, it's you will you will thrive in whatever way.
Appreciate that.
Um, but yeah, so it was actually kind of nice because we don't get a chance to really have those conversations as much as we used to.
Hmm.
Because usually like well, especially now because I'm usually really busy with a lot of stuff on my end.
Hmm.
But you used to come over a lot more. We used to have a lot more of these like types of conversations, and
Hmm.
it's I always relish them. Uh, just
Yeah, everything
uh,
changed ever since your bitch moved in.
Bart,
It's a word. It's in the dictionary. It just sounds
I don't like it.
wrong. I looked it up.
Speaking of said person, no, I actually I'm a little bit in the doghouse because so I was allowed to buy some new movies.
Right.
Yes, it is my fault. I went a little overboard. All
Uh
right.
huh.
Um, I got some really good stuff though. It like
Hmm.
I'm so one that I've been chasing for a while. That I finally was able to find a fairly inexpensive copy of is the Alfred Hitchcock Ultimate Collection,
Mm.
and this is it has a lot of like the really like some of his best ones. Like it has so stuff that we've covered, like Psycho. We haven't done Vertigo, but like has The Birds, Vertigo, Rear Window, North by Northwest, The Man Who Knew Too Much, the remake, not the. I don't think it has the original on there, although it might. I don't know. I haven't checked that actual disc.
Hmm.
Uh, has Marnie, Saboteur, Shadow of a Doubt, one that we've covered, Rope, The Trouble with Harry, which we will review someday because that's a great movie. Torn Curtain, Topaz, Frenzy, Family Plot. It also has the some of the episodes from the Alfred Hitchcock Presents TV show
Hmm.
and a couple of episodes of the Alfred Hitchcock Hour and all sorts of like bonus features, documentaries, commentaries, interviews, shit like that.
Hmm.
It comes with like a really cool booklet that kind of gives some information and man, it's so I was really excited about that. I actually watched the rewatched Shadow of a Doubt yesterday,
Hmm.
um, because I wanted to give it another chance.
Hmm.
I know we weren't like we liked it, but we weren't like super wowed by it. So I wanted to see if
Right.
maybe I would maybe coming back to it after a few years might change my mind.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it must have made an impression because I'm having a hard time remembering that movie.
So it's about like so Joseph Cotton, who we know from Citizen Kane. He's the uncle. He's Uncle Charlie in this one. Also has Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life as like the dad of this family, who's a little weird. Kind of, it's a very eccentric family,
Mm-hmm.
and the older daughter, who is named after this Uncle Charlie, um, we don't know if like what exactly he's done. He's kind of an unscrupulous character, Joseph Cotton, but he essentially like it turns out that he probably either stole or murdered somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to figure out like did he do it, did he not do it, and yeah, so it's kind of there's a lot of suspense and like trying to figure out that mystery. Did he do it or did he not do it? And
For sure,
um
we watched this because I can't recall this movie at all.
this was a recommendation by our friend Robert Lane. We did review it back really probably within like the when we that might have been like one of the first movies we reviewed. It wasn't the first, but it was one of the first.
Huh? Yeah, I can't. I
Drawing a
can't.
blank.
I can't. Yeah, I can't think of this movie. Like,
We
it's
might
not.
have to we might have to do some revisits on some of these films just to see like not because like
Yeah, I mean,
we're
are you
not
sure? Like,
we're not running out of film, trust me. But some
no,
some
yeah.
of the films I would love to revisit just to see maybe if like our opinion has changed since we've done the review. But anyways, so I got that. I so some of the movies I got, we've seen, or some we've reviewed, some I've never seen. So it's just ones that I want to watch.
Mhm.
But I got the Lon Chaney's Phantom of the Opera. I got the Police Story 1 and 2 pack. This one seemed kind of interesting. It's called Shock Corridor.
Mhm.
It's about this guy who's trying to track down a killer, but he has to commit himself to a mental hospital to investigate it. So, sounded kind of interesting to me. Another film that we did during our when we did the month of 1939, Stagecoach. I got that. I got that the Criterion version. Movie I've never seen. This is called The Story of the Last Chrysanthemum. It's about like the story about like kabuki theater, and it sounded kind of interesting. Seemed like the premise would like when you're reading, it's like that sounds kind of boring, but I do love Japanese film. So it's also from 1939. So I've never seen it. Thought it'd be interesting. I also got the Anatomy of a Murder, which we've reviewed, which
Yeah,
is
that I
a
remember. Yeah, with
great fucking. I love that. That was our court procedurals month.
yeah.
That one that I haven't seen in a long time, but I have the original, The Blob with Steve McQueen.
Mm.
I've never, I've watched the original. I've never seen the remake of The Blob. I got Sancho the Bailiff. It's another like kind of Japanese famous Japanese movie. I got a lot of Japanese movies. Battle Royale, which is I was reading something about Quentin Tarantino, how much he hated the Hunger Games, and
Mhm.
it's like the worst. It's like the crappy version of Battle Royale. So
Yeah, yeah. That's how I feel.
I've never seen the Hunger Games. I never read the books, and I've never watched Battle Royale. But
Yeah.
like
I mean,
when I
again,
was
like for me, I'm well read despite not reading a lot of books or books at all.
yeah
Um, so yeah, I watched the movies, and I was like, yeah, okay, but this is definitely you could definitely tell this is based off like a young adult's like novel,
yeah
because Battle Royale goes hard, like if you like it's like they even like kick up the stakes by putting a collar on you, and if you're like not participating enough, they'll kill you.
it's like read the premise, I'm like, fuck, this sounds awesome. I'm in. I think
Right,
this would
yeah. I
be
mean, as opposed to like in Hunger Games, like you could like there's like this one girl who's like really good at camouflaging herself, so she kind of like passive like participation. In battle royale, it's like, nah, motherfucker. If you're not like killing people, like they attach like the collars on you. It's like, if you don't start killing people, we're gonna just explode your head.
It's almost like how with like some of the cruelty of the games in Alice in Wonderland. It kind of has maybe like a little bit of that. Does it have like a little bit of feel to it?
In Borderland, right?
Yeah. Sorry, did I say Alice in Wonderland? Alice in Borderland. Yeah, because it like some of those games are fucking cruel.
Yeah. Exactly. Like especially the hide and seek game.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That episode wrecked me, dude. That was rough.
I know. And you're not with these guys, or at least
that's like the fifth.
Let me not be sexist. Let me not be sexist. Like you're not with these characters for very long, but like particularly amongst the male characters, you do get the sense of like their camaraderie and their tight knit group.
Oh, you're with them. Like you're friends with them already. Like they're
no. That's what I'm saying. Like we're not with them for a long time, but I think their their camaraderie definitely helps you fill in like the backstory of like these friends who've been friends for a very long time. And so like when we get to the hide and seek game, and they all all of them make the two friends anyway decide to make the ultimate sacrifice for their friend who they know is like the brains of the group, and he's really smart, and he'll be able to figure his way out of this to give him the best chance possible. That just rips out your guts.
God, yeah, that was a rough episode. But like Battle Royale it just sounded really interesting because I was watching something about like Tarantino talking about like about this film. I was like, okay, he made it sound fun. I was like, I'm in.
And actually, the actress who plays Gogo in Kill Bill, she was actually in the Battle Royale.
Oh, is that where she's from?
Yeah.
That's why he cast her, dude.
That's why, that's why she. Yeah, I think in Battle Royale she was like the slut. Like she slept with like like the guy character, then killed them. She was a Black Widow.
Yeah. So I'm like I said, I'm super excited to watch that. I got another film I got was Death by Hanging, which is this is another one I've never heard of, but it sounded really interesting. It's about like this. It's set in Imperial Japan. I think it's in Imperial Japan, but it's like this Korean man is sentenced to death in Japan, but survives his execution, sending authorities into a panic about what to do next. And it's like
I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, it's like a subversive and surreal indictment on both capital punishment and the treatment of Korean immigrants in Japan. So I was like, that sounds kind of interesting. So I got that. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Who knows? Another film that sounded interesting too that I've never heard of or watched is Diabolic. And what got me is that this it started with Before Psycho, Peeping Tom, and Repulsion, another movie I've never seen. There was Diabolic. It's a thriller that shocked audiences in Europe and the U.S. and it's a story of two women, a fragile wife and a willful mistress of this sadistic headmaster of a boys' boarding school, and they hatch a daring revenge plot. So hey, we could have done it for this month. And so essentially they are trying to get revenge on this headmaster, boys' boarding school headmaster. So I was like, that sounds cool. Could be good. Another one that I'm really excited that because this actually just got released, so I wanted to make sure I got it, was the Criterion version of Malcolm X, a movie that we will review at some point. I just don't know when or where.
It's a long movie too, though.
It is. Like I said, I don't know what type of theme we'll do to get that in. But yeah, it's a what is it? It's
like
201 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a long fucking movie. That's like almost a 4-hour movie. It's really long.
That's what is it? That's Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
But although, admittedly, when you start watching Zack Snyder's cut, it doesn't feel that long.
No, it doesn't, because it's actually good.
Despite the length, it's like actually good and coherent.
I
And
honestly, the was it the Josh Whedon version? Even though it's like way shorter, it feels way longer.
right, yeah, because it kind of
So,
like drags and slogs, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
it's like get to the final battle already. Jeez,
yeah. I also got Shapped.
nice.
So because I haven't seen this in forever, but
Mm.
I wanted to watch this, and Criterion had it. The one that we've already reviewed, but it's a movie I love, is The Night of the Hunter. I got the Blu-ray of that. I got Ministry of Fear by Fritz Lang. This is one of his, like, he made like 4 films after he came to America, kind of like as in like an indictment against like the Nazi regime. Um, so Fritz Lang we know as the guy who did um, Metropolis. That Fritz Lang. And he's done a bunch of, like, he's actually done a lot of movies I didn't realize was like, yeah, this guy he wasn't just like a silent a movie director. He did have a lot of sound films as well.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Die Hard collection, so that's so I have all 5 movies. Um, I didn't Sidney Poitier in Buck and the Preacher. It's actually a movie that he directed. It kind of like the premise made it kind of sound like when we did Boss. It kind of has like the premise. I've never seen it, but like the premise seemed kind of like that. So I was like, okay, and it's Sidney Poitier, so like I'm in. I got was it Gregory Peck and the Gunfighter, movie that you and I have watched together, but we've never talked about. Or you haven't reviewed. I don't even know how this is pronounced, but like it's a silent film called Pakistan. It's about like witches and witchcraft. Is a silent film. And then I got the Yojimbo Sandro pack, the Lone Wolf and Cub collection, and a movie called Gate of Hell. And it's like this. It's supposedly like this it's set in like 12th century Japan. And it's about like this guy who falls in love with this um, noble woman, and like he ends up like I think like trying to like murder so that they can be together and stuff like that. So it sounded kind of cool. So I went a little crazy on the movies, but and I'm kind of in the doghouse, but it was I think it was worth it. It's okay. I'll be okay. She'll be okay. But on other news, like so like my wife unfortunately was in a car accident, you know, last or this month, and car got totaled. Unfortunately, which is just sucks. So, and unfortunately, the guy that like ran into her had no insurance. No, well, I mean, he had proof of some insurance that he may have had like 3 years ago in like a different car. His registration was out of date, and decided that day that he just didn't want to pay attention, or I don't know if he was jerking off or on his phone or fell asleep or what. So didn't have anything, and then so we ended up we're trying to she's getting medical treatment just to kind of make sure she's okay, like as far as like my wife has a handicap, so didn't want there to be any further damage to like her handicap. Want to make sure that like her back is okay. So she's been going through some treatments just to kind of like to help kind of figure out where she's at. So that's been like kind of a pain in the ass getting all that together. And then this past week, I had to buy her a new car. Oh God, that process sucks. Let me tell you.
Especially now because of lockdowns and supply chain issue stuff. Like they're the price for cars is just exorbitant.
Yeah. Well,
Would be a kind thing to say.
we were lucky. Not we were able to find a slightly used Mazda 3 hatchback. It doesn't have everything that like she wanted, but it has like I would say it has like 90% of what she wanted. And so it's
Still
like
pretty good.
and the deal was good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I told her, it's like, listen, I don't think we're gonna. I think we lucked out that we found this with this type of deal. Let's just do it. You know, it's we're not probably not gonna get much better than this.
Mm-hmm.
I know she wanted something like a little newer, but this. Hey, if you're environmentalist out there, what have I done to create more energy? Like I didn't like I bought something that
Yeah,
already exists. It was not
but
created
yeah.
just for me.
Although yeah, but for environmentalists, they're not about creation. They're about harm reduction.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, that's stupid.
I
Um,
know. Yeah, because I mean, if you really think about all like every kind of like leftist argument is about harm reduction. It's never about um, like proactive creation.
yeah,
You know, because like if they were, then they if it was, then they'd be championing nuclear energy because it's it's super cheap and it creates a shit ton of energy for very little. But
yeah,
no, like they just want you to not use petroleum products because it does less harm.
exactly. But yeah, so we ended up getting her new car. Um, and so it ended up was kind of like in our price range. So I got the financing together. I'm kind of working on like kind of getting that all finalized, but it's uh, but I got what we could afford, and I'm just glad that process is over. And whenever like we get some sort of once we finally get some sort of settlement from the well, now because it's actually our insurance company, because we do have uninsured motorist coverage,
Mm.
but they're kind obviously like with insurance they're gonna drag their feet, obviously, like they don't want to pay out for that. Um, so it's kind of fighting with them to get the to get the coverage that we do deserve to get from what we pay into insurance. That's a tough process, and that's kind of like where the headaches are coming. And my wife, she any sort of resistance, like in any sort of like struggle, she's like a cheap card table. She kind of like folds in.
Yeah, she
So
folds fast. Yeah.
I'm like, it's a process. It's gonna take time, but we're in the right. And you have to remain vigilant. I can't have you collapse on me. Like because I can't do it all by myself. I need your help too.
Mm.
So I need.
Yeah, and it's not as though like you're asking her to be active, or you're really asking her to just keep quiet.
It's like just support me through this, helping you through this process. That's all I ask.
Right.
So
Yeah, and
it's
I mean, just really aside, a lot of women like sometimes like they think like they like support means like doing something active, but like sometimes it's just being there, but then also just like letting you do letting you handle it, and trusting that you will handle it.
and all I ask is like, the world is not ending. It's okay.
Mm.
Like, just there's gonna be like we're gonna have some. Don't just collapse into a pile of tears on me. All right. Like we're in this as a team. there's going to be some good news, and there's going to be bad news, and there's going to be probably some sort of compromise at some point. But I'm not gonna let it get to a point where we're gonna not get anything out of this. Like it's like I said, it's just it's an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be at the snap of the fingers, but in the end, I believe it will work out the way it's supposed to work out.
Mm-hmm.
It's so just you gotta just stay tough, stiff upper lip.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it's like the other part is like when I go to work and I deal with a bunch of like whiners and complainers. I'm like, oh, my schedule, oh, this. And then I come home and then it's like also more whining and complaining. It's like it makes me want to just like fucking slit my own throat and just, just, God. Makes me just want to like, fuck, maybe I should just sleep in my car today. I don't know. But that's been my week. Got myself in a little bit of trouble, but also got a new car, or a newish car. It's a 2020. It's 3 years old with only 30,000 miles on it. So I was like, that's a
Yeah,
fucking
that's
great.
good.
That's great.
That's about typical. Because I've had my car for 3 years, no, 4 years, going on 4 years, and I have like 35, just over 35,000.
Yeah, you don't drive it very much.
No,
That's.
but when I do drive it, I really drive it. I go on trips.
Well, yeah, you're going on. Those are highway miles.
Yeah,
Those
those
are
are highway
so
miles, so
you're.
those are good.
Yeah. So it's but yeah, the car drives great, man. I've been I've had a few chances to kind of drive it myself, and
Mm.
damn, dude, it's nice. I do like uh I do like the Mazda 3. It's not bad. It's also my dad, since Joyce got or my wife got the Mazda. My dad, who when he started driving, like he owned the RX-4s and RX-7s and stuff like that.
Mm.
But he bought a Mazda jacket back in the '70s. So obviously, like my mom, my dad, and I, we don't fit in that jacket anymore. So he gave it to my wife as like, now that you're a Mazda owner, you now have a Mazda jacket that you can wear, like, and it's so she really liked it. So and it fit her perfectly. So she's
What was the
she has.
old Mazda logo?
Well, so it is the older Mazda logo. It also had like the patch that's on there. It's the rotary engine,
Right.
like the RX, 4 and 7.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's it's not exactly, maybe it doesn't necessarily match the car that she has now, but it's still pretty damn
Right.
cool that we still have that as like a uh, family heirloom, I guess.
Mm.
But that's been my week. I'm glad, starting a new week. Still have a bunch of stuff going on. Like I said, I'm in the doghouse probably for probably about a week or more.
Mm.
But you know what? It's okay. Maybe it'll be more quiet.
Knowing your wife, not likely.
I'm was wishful thinking at this point.
Yeah, but it's not likely.
But why don't we? Unless there's something else that you have going on that from the past week, we can jump into the news topics.
Yeah, no, I got. My life is boring. So yeah, let's get into the news topics. Uh, where would you like to start?
Why don't we start with like it? Let's start with the Paul Pelosi stuff, because
Okay.
that story just keeps getting weirder and weirder.
Right. Well, for those of you living under a rock, the body cam footage from the San Francisco Police Department, and actually the 911 audio from that night was also released, and my God, it just the dispatcher had to have been what is it what is it a diversity hire, because my God, like Paul Pelosi. Okay, him being attacked sucks. Okay, I fully condemn the attack, but this woman, like, he kept trying to drop hints, that he was in distress, and that, like, it was like, oh, like, there's this guy in my house. It's like, he says he's my friend. He says he's looking for my wife, Nancy Pelosi. It's like, oh well, and it's like, and he was like saying, like, oh yeah, the Capitol Police are usually here, but they're not here right now. And she's like, oh yeah, well, this is the San Francisco police. It's just like, she
Yeah,
like she wasn't getting the hints.
it's like, okay, so clearly, like, there was something maybe. Because I know, like, the spin was like, oh, he's a Trump supporter and he snuck into their property and, like, beat up Paul Pelosi. No, that's not what happened. This person wasn't. Sorry, you don't just sneak into the third most powerful person in our government's house. Sorry, it doesn't happen. Um, uh, so this person was invited probably by Paul Pelosi to their house.
Well, I
I'm
mean, well
sure.
then, yeah, well
Uh,
that's a little
but
dubious
but
too,
like
because of
we don't.
the other footage that was released of him, like, smashing in windows, breaking in.
Did he break in?
Well, there's footage. There's, like, CC, like, footage that was from the system that the Capitol Police installed at the Pelosi house. Um, but it shows him, like, with a hammer breaking the glass. Kind of like, if you guys remember, there's that helicopter shot of, the that windowed area with the glass on the ground. But yeah, yeah, apparently he might have broken.
See, yeah, now
I mean, with that footage, it makes it
I
seem like he did break in.
I feel this is one of those things where, like, this is where, like, I with when it comes to the news, like, I'm just so skeptical with, like, whatever they say. I'm like, I don't know if I believe. I don't know if I believe them.
Right,
I'm
and
sorry.
and,
Like,
and it's kind of hard too, because what is it? It kind of messes with the timeline as well, because the clock, for that footage is set for Eastern time.
right.
So, like, so allegedly when he broke in, um, it's set for, according to that clock, later. But again, that clock is set up for Eastern time, which I don't know why they do that. Um, because I get it. The Capitol Police, they're headquartered in Washington D.C., East Coast time.
And
But
Pelosi is barely in her district to begin with, so
right,
yeah.
yeah, but then also, like, why would you? That makes no sense. Like, why would you set the camera feed time to match East Coast time? And not just, understand that, oh, we set it for West Coast time, and then whatever, that doesn't make any sense. Why they would do that? So, like, yeah, it could be that, the timeline is correct, and he did do it, late at night, and I don't know why, I don't know, and then, okay, so moving forward, we then go to the San Francisco PD body cam footage that was released, and the police, arrive, and they knock on the door, and Paul Pelosi comes and answers the door, um, holding the hammer, with the other guy, David DePap or whatever, holding on with both hands to that hammer. But it's also weird how he even opened the door, because it was in his left, because he was holding it with his right hand,
Yeah.
and in his left hand he had a drink. So how did exactly he open the door for the police? Which, but that still lines up with the initial reporting that that said that Paul Pelosi opened the door for them. and not that the San Francisco police opened the door, because that's what the narrative started to switch towards that direction. Like, oh no, the Paul Pelosi didn't open the door; it was the San Francisco police that opened the door.
But that's not true. That's not what happened.
Yeah, no, that's not what we see in the body cam footage. Exactly. Um, and again, another weird thing is Paul Pelosi's not wearing any pants. Like
Yeah. Well, I mean,
he's
okay. Let's somewhat of the benefit of the doubt. Okay, he's in his own home at like what is it, like 2 a.m.
right.
Okay, I'm probably not gonna be wearing pants either.
Right, but then like you think he'd be wearing pajamas or something, but he was like still wearing a button up shirt.
Yeah, that. Well, see, here's the thing though, like, because I sometimes like I don't really have quote unquote pajamas. Like I don't have like the like was it in the Simpsons episode with like George Bush, like when he moves in, it's like where'd you get those? Well, it's a presidential pajamas. Like, and you're not president, so you can't tell.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I don't have.
Like the classic understanding of pajamas. And I get,
Right.
yeah, me too. I mean, during the winter I wear joggers, jogger sweats to go to sleep, and in the summer I wear basketball shorts.
Oh, see, I don't even go that far. Like, I pretty much just like have like my boxers on and like a shirt, maybe.
Well, I didn't want to go that far into that. But yes, and
But
anyways,
I'm just saying that
but
like
it's weird. But it's weird though, because he came in like no pants, but with a button up shirt, which is fine. You could just say like, yeah, like that's his pajamas, or his like, it's his house. He can do what the fuck he wants. Okay, fair enough.
they also said that like he was like a naked crazy man too. Like the other guy, like he had clothes on.
Yeah. He was like, he had like shorts and like and a hoodie, type of thing. So yeah, I mean, I could like, all of it is it just points to the initial reporting to be accurate.
Right.
Like the whole thing with the MSNBC reporter accurately reporting on the situation, and then he gets suspended for a month or whatever. But there was like no retraction saying like, oh yeah, the initial reporting was correct, we apologize. No, they just like swept under the rug. They brought him back on as corresponding reporter, and it was never addressed that his reporting was accurate.
It's just so fucking weird. Like what happened? And is this like one of those things where they thought that maybe this was like a stunt, that was like this was meant as like one of those, oh well, we're gonna make this guy look like an unhinged, right wing Trump supporter who is a election denier, whatever the fuck that they whatever the term they want to use, that's attacking the one of the most powerful Democrats in government. And is that what they were going for? Maybe like it's going to drum up support, like to get the voters to go out.
Yeah, that's exactly what they tried to do. That's exactly what they tried to do. They immediately came out talking about, oh, another example of right wing violence, and then it's also just happened.
I think that either if this was like a staged event that was trying to make this happen, or where you have like this crazy unhinged guy that did like break into their house and was trying to like to hammer him to death, hammer him or Nancy Pelosi to death. But like that's why like why the reporter was suspended. It's like, stop accurately reporting the actual news.
Right.
No, how can we spin this to our like benefit? It's like, okay, that's either way, it's really fucking shady and weird and gross. I don't like any of it.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Because they were trying to use. Okay, they're doing the whole. They're abiding by the Rahm Emanuel school of PR. Like, don't let a good crisis go to waste.
Exactly.
And so yeah, they try to paint this guy as like some right wing nut, but the
Which is clearly
lightest,
true.
yeah, but again, the lightest scrutiny reveals the truth, and that he was like this extreme like left wing person, and I don't know why they went with, I don't know why they went with this categorization, but like extreme nudist. I heard like him
Yeah,
being
but it's
described as that. What's an extreme nudist? Like he doesn't like is he an extreme nudist in the fact that he doesn't abide by just being a nudist in his like community, or does he try to be does he try to go outside and, like to like the store nude? Does that make him an extreme
that would be
nudist? I don't
extreme.
know.
That
Yeah,
would
I
be
don't know.
extreme.
Yeah, that would be extreme. But also,
Or
yeah,
you
like
show, or you show
he
up
was
naked,
a
or you show up and hammer in the window and jump into their house, to a house that's not your own naked. That would be extreme nudist
that'd be extreme
activity.
too. That'd be an extreme
But
nudist as well.
he had clothes on.
Mm-hmm.
I so like I said, I don't know if it is, the if it's a staged event or what. It Like I said, I don't have the answers to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, whatever, like the your MSNBC's, well, initially, maybe not, currently, or the CNN reporting, or whatever political pundits were reporting on this. They uh, don't believe them. The spin it's that's not true. What
Right.
we in fact, we still don't know all the details. We still don't know everything, but like it's kind of coming together piecemeal. But it's looking more and more like what was initially reported, with now with the body
Yeah.
cam
Right.
footage.
Yeah. And I'm not talking motives here, but I'm talking
The
about like what happened as we understand it. Yes, like the initial reporting from MSNBC and that reporter was accurate.
Yeah, like I said, it's whatever the deal is. It's weird. We wanted to kind of keep, when that was released, I was like, and we saw the footage ourselves. I was like, well, we should talk about it, kind of see, like, because it is. I think that I'm sure that they want to just stuff that into the memory hole, and like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, see, well, it's not important anymore because we
Right.
semi
They're doing the Hillary Clintons. Like, what does it even matter anymore?
exactly. But it should matter because it's this is there's
Right.
something
Yeah. Like yeah.
smelly.
The third, and actually the second in line for the president. Nearly got taken out. And
Yeah,
that should be concern, especially because what is it? This could have happened to any other elected official. Like, you could be like a known name senator from Kansas, and then some guy gets the bright idea to pull this off because because you voted yes on some bill that this particular person doesn't want, and then so he goes and tracks him down and tries to do the same thing.
it just yeah, we have to. I'm wondering if, like, because although it got this is also one that got stuffed down the memory hole, but um what's his face, Kavanaugh had someone that was like going to his house to, like, break in,
Yeah, and
and
murder him and his family.
yeah, essentially, yeah, to do harm to him and his family. And it's stuff like this where, like, these people who do have power in our government, who have decision making abilities, and yet they're being targeted. Now, I don't necessarily, like, it usually seems to be more on, more of the conservative side of things. um this is obviously, Paul Pelosi. Like, this is not like the first incident, like, that we've had with him. Like, he had his DUI or whatever the fuck that he had. um and then it's like, not what, like 6 months later, this happens too. Like, I don't know. I just I don't know what it is. It just smells to me. It just I don't know why,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
it
just
just
something is
smells.
not adding up right.
It doesn't. Something's not. Something just doesn't fit for me.
Hmm.
I don't know what it is, but hopefully we'll keep getting more info. I think that is the investigation still going on with this. Like, are they still investigating this with the
I
San
think
Francisco
so.
Police Department?
I think so. Um,
I mean, that the guy that like the hammer, he's I think he's still in jail, right? Like, or is he out in like some sort
I
of
believe,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, and interestingly enough, a recording of him, you know, was leaked or whatever. He was like giving some sort of interview from prison, but like he pulled the old Jefferson quote, about blood of patriots, refreshing the tree of liberty and stuff.
uh,
Um,
that seems a
but
little
yeah, but it's but
like
the way he was talking, it felt like it didn't feel genuine. It felt like he was reading a script.
that's yeah, like already based off of like what some of the news that did actually come out about him, like and about some of like his political ties and all that stuff, like him like using that Jefferson quote, like sorry, I don't buy it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was like what was it? It wasn't verbatim, but he did say like, oh, the tree of liberty, and and everyone, and you get the point. But yeah, like that prison interview wholly rings false to me because of what we know about his political leanings, with like the whole like him being like a socialist, and his the where he lived, like it was littered with like Black Lives Matter flags, and inclusivity, rainbow flags, um and what is it, and the fact that I mean, not to say that you can't be, but he's from Canada. He's one of those people who overstayed their visa or whatever.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like he's not even from fucking America. Like, and he's not a citizen either.
Yeah,
Now,
he's not
I'm
from
not
America.
I'm not
He's from
saying
yeah, he's from Canada.
that there are people from like other countries who don't have like they like what it says it stands for. I'm not saying that that's not like can't be the case, but like honestly, dude, like you're in this country illegally, and
Hmm.
yeah, you're using some Thomas Jefferson quote, and like, what the hell do you have to like? What the fuck do you care about like what happens in the American government? Like,
I know, like you
dude,
are
bro,
you are flagrantly breaking our laws to
if
be
you
here.
if you wanted to like have that sort of thing of like the using that quote, like fuck, like go, why don't you go attack your prime minister or wherever in Canada, who's destroying your culture over there, if you really felt that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I said, it stinks to fucking high heaven. I'm sorry. I don't know why, but it does.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. That just the math just does not add up in this situation.
I still can't. Extreme nudist. Like, what? Why? That's the other thing. He was wearing fucking clothes. If he's an
I
extreme
know. If
nudist,
he's an
at
extreme
least like,
nudist, shouldn't he have attacked? Yeah, shouldn't he have attacked them? Naked.
yeah. Or I was at least expecting like, was it the like Nick Swartzen's character on like Reno 911?
Oh, yeah, yeah, Randy.
Yeah, at least something like that. Like, at least give me something like when you're using like terms like extreme nudist. Like, at least give me that. Like, he
Give me
was wearing
something extreme. Don't give me a dude in
he
shorts and
was
a
more
hoodie.
he was more clothed than Paul Pelosi.
That fair point. That is a fair point.
It just I don't know. I really hope
Yeah.
we we get some more information on that
Yeah.
because it just
Although, yeah, I'm still holding out hope that that part of this was a gay hookup gone wrong.
I mean I'm kind of on board with you. I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
thinking that's what it is too. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, don't get me wrong. It's like Paul Pelosi is married to probably like one of the most. I don't say many people in government are evil, but
Mm-hmm.
Nancy Pelosi's fucking evil. I'm sorry,
Right,
with her
but it's not
attention,
e- it's not even that. It's just
but
like
she's
that because they're so like elitist or whatever. Like they can't get their thing. That I doubt that he can get his thing. Paul Pelosi can get his thing harder. Hard on. Hard for any woman.
no,
Until he has to. He starts to engage in like this degenerate crap.
yeah, it's just that's my thinking too. It's like because like I said, the guy doesn't just shut. Like I said,
Right, and
I think
actually, yeah, that footage of him breaking the windows. What if that was like part of like his whole like rape fantasy thing?
could be, could be.
You know,
Once you get
because
raped in the butt,
yeah, because like, I mean, being Speaker of the House, you would think that there was like some sort of like security, but then him smashing the windows didn't even trigger. There was no
the,
alarm.
yeah.
Why didn't the
Why?
Capitol Police or like even like ADT didn't like roll out?
Exactly. It's like I said, it's weird, dude.
Yeah, like did Paul Pelosi turn off the circadian system so he could indulge in his like home invasion rape fantasy?
Good question.
I don't know. But yeah, I still, I mean, not to say that it's 100%, but I still think that there is enough wiggle room for that theory to pan out.
I think honestly, I'm probably with you on that one. That to me like seems the most like that seems the most plausible thing. And like there was
Mhm.
something that went wrong, either like
Right,
the dude didn't like suck Paul Pelosi's dick right or pound
right.
him in the ass right,
Hmm.
and so
Yeah,
he
because like, how was he even able to get to his phone, and make the 911 call?
in the
Yeah,
bathroom no less.
in the bathroom, no less.
I can't think of many kidnappers or like assassins that would allow you not only to use the bathroom but have your phone with you
Hmm.
alone.
Exactly.
And it's like they say, come on.
Right. I mean, yeah, like maybe something happened and something happened and he excused himself to go use the bathroom, and yeah, maybe he keeps a burner phone or whatever in the bathroom for emergencies. And that's where he makes the phone call or whatever. And then to Pap, he like because he still has the hammer, he breaks his way into the bathroom, and that's when Pelosi starts uh what is it dropping hints or whatever, because like this encounter goes sideways.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I suppose anything's possible, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't add up to me. I
Mm-hmm.
think gay hookup
Right.
is. I think you're right. I
I
lean
know
more
it's
towards the gay hookup.
right. Yeah. Yeah, and it could probably right, because then you're like, oh yeah, you're gonna, yeah, so you're gonna play the role of a right wing extremist, and you're gonna demand to know where my wife is, you know, so you're gonna scream like, where's Nancy? Where's Nancy? Oh
Exactly.
my god,
Maybe
this is such a freaking
I think you have. I think you're onto something.
yeah, this
The
is this is a home invasion rape fantasy that just went wrong.
Do you think this is what AOC wants to? That's why like she was like, I almost died on January 6th.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because I'm sure her
Oh
like
yeah. Yeah, because her socks and sandals ginger boyfriend is definitely not giving her the good deed.
hell no. That dude probably like yeah that That is not something that would get my pussy wet if I was a woman.
Like, why would your pussy be wet? All right, my wife's pussy's not wet.
My snatch would snap shut so tight, nothing could get through.
Oh man. Oh, but do you remember that time that Ben Shapiro told the world that his wife's pussy's not wet?
What? No.
I forget what the context, but it's like why you worry about women's pussies being wet? My wife's pussy's not wet.
Jesus, what is he like raping his fucking wife every night? Then God damn. That is. I'm sorry. Okay, here's the thing. Like, if it's not wet, that is not comfortable for the guy either. All right, like that fucking hurts.
Right, but it's just funny because it's speaking largely to like the fact that Ben Shapiro can't satisfy his wife.
But seriously, bro, come on.
that his penis does not get his wife's pussy wet.
You gotta have some foreplay. Shit. Fuck. Me. I can't Good Lord. That's uncomfortable for everybody. Jesus Christ. Dude.
Oh man.
Work on your foreplay game. God damn. Oh my goodness.
Man.
I'm sorry. I had that blows my fucking mind, dude. If I tried to do that to my wife, when she is not it's like hitting a fucking brick wall with my cock, dude.
Dude, it's like sticking your dick in a bucket of sand.
Yeah, it's sandpaper. Oh God. Ugh.
Oh.
Wrong with these fucking people, dude.
But it's just so funny that Ben Shapiro is so Asperger that he doesn't even know that he told on himself.
Damn, dude, that's fucking sad.
Oh man! Oh.
Good fucking God! So you know what? I'm sorry. That's a more interesting story than even the Paul Pelosi stuff. All right.
You don't remember this? You don't remember this? Oh God! He was having. I think he was having beef with Fuentes. There you go, Fuentes.
Oh God, another fucking loser too. God. It's just like, but yeah, and I understand why. It's because that guy. But why would you out yourself like that? Come on, man.
Yeah, because Ben Shapiro he didn't know.
So no one said
he didn't understand the significance of a woman's pussy being wet.
That's super important.
I know, which again is it's so hilarious because he basically told on himself. Is like, have you ever had sex, Ben?
Yes. Man. You're either just raping or good fucking God. That's supposed to be the most uncomfortable sex of all time.
Oh my God.
Oh, I'm just my dick hurts thinking about it.
Oh. I needed that. Oh, God, that's hilarious.
Both of our cocks hurt thinking about that. Good God.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I know you're focused on the more practical side of that joke, but well, I'm thinking about the meta commentary.
It is a great self-own. It's just
I'm cracking up at the meta commentary about Ben Shapiro not understanding why it's good for a woman's pussy to be wet, and like him like not him not getting it is like, has he ever had sex? And, it just kind of keeps going down like this. Just keeps cascading into like these depths of like comedy gold for me. It's just like, oh my god.
It's funny on many levels.
It's funny on many levels. Oh, but I needed that laugh. Oh, jeez. Oh.
Speaking of things that we can laugh at, let's talk about the DC universe.
Oh, really? Well, really quickly before we wrap up this, there was also footage that was released of a Pfizer executive admitting to basic war crimes, basically.
Did you want to talk about the Pfizer stuff first before we get into the?
Yeah. Let's get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the title that I have, Candid Cameras, kind of applies to both. But yeah, we could talk really quickly about the Pfizer's thing.
No. Well, this is an important story.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. Right before like that Project Veritas video dropped,
Mm-hmm.
I had literally just rewatched because the new Mission Impossible movie is coming out soon, so I've been wanting to like kind of rewatch all of them, just in preparation. And I literally rewatched Mission Impossible 2, and the premise of that movie, which is actually really interesting. The premise is great. The execution is okay.
A little less to be desired.
Yeah, but it's essentially about this pharmaceutical company that created this highly effective disease called Chimera, which attacks the red blood cells and essentially destroys a person from within.
Mm-hmm.
And it's contagious too. So if someone has this thing, then they will start to show signs of like decay in their body in like 20 hours, and essentially like it'll start to infect people because their body will bleed out. But they also created the antidote to the Chimera, which was I forget what they called that. I'm drawing a blank on the name now, but so essentially it's not like they had this
Bellerophon?
Yeah, thank you. That's what it is.
It's been a while since I saw this movie, but I forgot too. But like, given that the disease was called Chimera, like, and Chimera is based off, Greek mythology. The story of who defeated the Chimera was the hero Bellerophon.
That's right. So, big brain Andy here.
I know. I'm just revealing how much of a nerd I
am. So anyways, and essentially it's like this. It's this pharmaceutical guy that is creating this thing, and the terrorists are the ones that are trying to steal both the Chimera. They are working together with the pharmaceutical company to make this thing happen. Like create this crisis, and then profit off of the crisis. And I was like, and when I first watched it, I was like, oh, this is a good movie. It's like, glad that never happens. Well, it happens. And what happened in this Project Veritas video shows that these Pfizer especially, this is fucking Bond villain, Mission Impossible villain shit that's going on in real life. And this makes so much sense because we talked about like all those virology clinics that are like, being funded and popping up, and like, why would they do this? Like, and kind of like, let's create what would happen if we created this like super strong strain of like this particular virus or this, like, let's play with that a little bit. Now we know why. Because it's all about like what these places are doing, along with these pharmaceutical companies, is they are creating super strong strains of viruses, and all sorts of like fucking evil, horrible shit. And then they are working on trying to create vaccines and um, all sorts of stuff to like it is like the quote unquote cure, and so that they can profit off of it. That's what it
Right.
is.
It's what's it called? I forget what. It's basically you 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 cause the problem, but you also have the solution.
Yeah, exactly.
I forget.
And
I forget. There's a it's called some sort of principle. But I don't remember off the top of my
and
head.
and the guy that they were talking with,
Oh,
this,
Hegelian dialectic. There it is. Sorry.
yeah, but the guy they were talking with, this isn't some fucking guy in the mailroom at Pfizer, okay? This guy is like one of
Yeah, he
their
was the
top.
lead researcher.
He is the lead researcher. He fucking knows,
Right.
and he dumbass, and thank God for just being dumb guys, okay? Like and like man, a pair of tits
Yeah.
can
Dude,
really
but
fuck.
no. But this guy was gay. So you gotta wonder how handsome was this dude.
Oh, was it a guy that was doing it?
Yeah. No, yeah, because the lead researcher dude, he was gay.
Oh shit! I didn't. I so see. I thought it was. I that part I didn't realize. I thought it was some like.
Yeah, but no,
I
you're not wrong though. You're not wrong though. There's like, because when you see other Project Veritas videos and the guy is heterosexual and like and you hear a woman's voice, like, God damn, how hot is this chick that this guy is like
man, this
just spilling his guts to her.
this pair of tits is like must be fucking
Right.
amazing.
No, yeah, very smart. I'm sure all his undercover reporters are very smart.
Well, in this case, for him being a homosexual, I guess he was very very smart.
Yeah.
Man, he must have
But
had like
yeah. But his reaction basically, told the whole story. Because that guy's reaction to when he gets confronted by James O'Keefe, it tells the whole story. He done fucked
like
up.
he's on like To Catch a Predator.
Right,
It's like,
right.
hey, yeah, come here,
It's
sit down.
like, dude, he goes. It's funny because for a minute there, he goes into David Goes to Dennis. Like, is this real life?
Dude, he has a full on fucking meltdown. Because he knows he
Seriously.
fucked up.
Yeah, full on melt. He's like, he's like immediately tried to discredit himself by saying like, oh, I'm a liar. It's like, I just made all that stuff up to impress a date.
Oh, you know how I impress today is like, hey, like all these like I create nasty viruses and try to create antidotes to them so that I can like profit off of them. Pretty cool, huh?
Exactly,
You're a fucking evil monster. That's what you are. I mean, maybe there's some people that are kind of turned on by that. It gets their pussy wet, but like it doesn't, or their dick wet.
Gets their dick hard.
Yeah, but I would not be one of those people. Jesus fucking Christ.
I know. It's like what you're describing is war crimes.
Yeah. This is
as much as like gain of function was the buzzword at the time, but yeah, it's like what a directed mutation.
they're the
That's
same.
gonna be the new thing.
To me, it's the same fucking thing. It
That's
does
war crimes.
oh,
You're basically making something as deadly as possible, and it doesn't matter the intention of like, oh, well, we're only doing that so we can make better vaccines, or or we can stay ahead of the curve. It's like, well, okay, that's great and all, but what if the virus that's out in the wild mutates in a different direction?
But see, here's the thing: is that this is what happened to. We're probably gonna get some backlash on this, but like, this is what happened in Wuhan. They were fucking around with, kind of like these COVID strains, like because we are like the coronavirus strains, which is a term that's been like it's in medical textbooks from like what like we talked about this too, like from almost 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And so they're fucking around with strains of coronavirus. Hey, Let's try to make it stronger. Let's try to make it do this.
Yeah,
Oh, whoops,
let's try to
leaked.
make it cross species.
Yeah. Oh, whoops, it leaked. Oh shit. We haven't figured out the antidote for it yet. Maybe it was done on purpose. Maybe it was an accident. Who fucking cares at this point? But like you created this a problem that probably should have never existed. It wasn't. This didn't happen naturally. Okay, this thing was created in a lab. It was a stronger version created in a lab. It leaked somehow, whether on purpose or an accident. And this is
I'm in the
if
camp
if
of
it here's the thing: if it didn't happen in Wuhan, it would have happened in some like bumfuck Eastern European virology lab in like Chernobyl. Who knows? It would have happened somewhere. That and like these places are popping up all over the fucking world. They are being funded by these global corporations like Pfizer, I'm sure. They're being funded by by governments.
dude. They're being funded by us.
Exactly.
And not like us, the American people, but us, the United States government.
Yeah, which is essentially our money.
Yeah. What was it like? There were virology labs in Ukraine. What do why do you think why do you think
We're protecting them.
we're protecting a so-called Western style liberal democracy? Because it's damn sure not to for protecting their democracy. It's to make sure that Russia doesn't take over significant parts of Ukraine and find those labs.
You think if those laws didn't exist, like that we would give two shits about Ukraine?
Of course not. But also, we are at least the government is responsible for the coup in 2014, which deposed the rightfully elected president of Ukraine and installed Vladimir Zelensky. The actor,
Yeah.
the literal actor. I'm not even saying that he's like some sort of puppet over. He like
He also
before he was president of Ukraine, he was an actor who was on a TV show about a guy who gets elected, a teacher who gets elected to be president of Ukraine, and the show was called The Servant of the People. And then his production company then goes on to form a political party, and he runs for president and he wins.
Didn't he also like play the piano with his penis at one point?
Yes, and he did like a Beyonce, single lady style video.
Yeah, this guy is just
So when I'm saying that he's an actor, I'm not saying that he's like some sort of CIA asset or something. I'm saying
no.
he's a literal actor.
He's a useless person. It's just and no one thinks
and
like
he came to our fucking Congress in a sweatshirt and cargo pants.
yeah, fuck you.
Begging for money.
Yeah. It's like
All right, you come hat in hand. You better have a fucking suit on.
exactly. At least look like a real fucking politician, for God's sakes.
I mean, he's a fucking leader of a country, and he came dressed up like a hobo.
Well, then again, we have a senator named John Fetterman, so.
Touche. But yeah, this Pfizer executive, God, his meltdown was epic.
Oh my god,
dude! Like the pizzeria that the pizza place that they're at, they he told them that, oh, lock the door, and they actually locked them all in.
It's like yeah.
Why? It's like, I mean, I understand like if they did that because this Pfizer exec was acting nuts and he was damaging, like he grabbed James O'Keefe's iPad and smashed it on the ground and destroying property, and I would understand if they did that to keep him in there because he was acting erratic, but they locked the doors on his behest. You know.
Yeah, fucking weird.
But yeah, I mean, he essentially and you know, and here's the wild thing about that is that Pfizer didn't distance himself from him. They basically
No,
was like, they didn't say like, oh, he's not that important. He didn't, he's like, the third assistant to the, a VP of something or other.
he's not the
Um,
assistant manager. He's the assistant to the
to the
manager.
manager. Yeah. They didn't go that route. But they just basically said like, oh yeah, and they basically and they admitted it's like, yeah, we are doing this, kind of work, but it's only so we can be better prepared and have vaccines on hand. It's like, oh, so for when you release the pathogen, 'cause that's the only way that works. Because you can't say like, oh, because you can't create the vaccine for something that doesn't exist. Because like the wild germs or whatever that are out there, they're not gonna necessarily mutate in the way that you mutated them in the lab.
Yeah,
So those vaccines that you're making, like for that specific strain that you manipulated, is not going to be the same as a wild pathogen that mutates on its own.
it's fucking. I am.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't know if I have to necessarily explain it, but I mean, you people understand that, right?
it's
They can say like, oh yeah, we're just being prepared, and we're creating the vaccines for the next things. Like, yeah, because you're creating the next thing.
this is why, like, to me, and so it's also, I think it's also funny, like right around this time that this video dropped, that this was going on. The World Economic Forum has been going on, um,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the like the guy at Pfizer, like the CEO was over there at the World Economic Forum,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, there are reporters and people who are pushing back. I mean, I don't know what it's gonna come to, obviously, but yeah, you had reporters who are like, yeah, how do you feel, like, you did this, and like you like you're doing these things, and it's and I mean, what are you gonna get, obviously, out of that? Like, he's not gonna respond to anything. But the fact that there's some sort of pushback finally, it's like, oh great, somebody woke up. This these you have government officials from all over the world. You have CEOs from around all over the world, all these powerful companies. You have all these like little meddlers that are a part of this thing. Bill Gates. He's always like pretty prominent at these places, and essentially Klaus Schwab. Like these guys that are trying to enact this whole thing, and it's just like, and then we get like this video of this guy just fucking spilling his. He's so enamored by this like golden cock, apparently, that like he just spilled his guts, and I'm so cool, right? And all these people should be fucking executed for like what they're doing.
Yeah, crimes against
It
humanity.
Good fucking god, it's scary to think about this. It is scary, and yet we want to. Oh, what's Putin doing in Ukraine? What's in the news is like this innocuous bullshit. This is news. This is something that people need to know,
Right,
that they
yeah,
need
I
to be
mean, yeah,
informed
they
about.
distract us with like the first Finnish transgendered, figure skater who fell on his face, not 5 seconds on getting on the ice.
Yeah, God, at
Or
least Tanya Harding. At least Tanya Harding was a good. Uh, Although she was.
yeah, she was at least a competent skater.
Yeah, exactly. Probably better than this. Fucking chick with the dick.
It's
Figure
crazy.
skater.
He's 55 years old and he used to be a farmer.
Good fucking god, dude. Good fucking God. But no, like I said, this is why I hate most of the news coverage, because we're talking about bullshit. This is important. This affects not just you and me here in the United States. This affects the fucking world.
Right. But
These
yeah, I
places are all
mean,
over the place.
yeah,
There's these places in Europe, in Asia, in Africa. They're all over the place.
yeah. But my only solace is they have to prove it. You know, I mean, to my knowledge, they still haven't even isolated the pathogen known as COVID, right? And so they could say like, oh yeah, we're gonna take the COVID thing and then we're gonna manipulate it and da da da. Like, oh, so you can manipulate viruses. You know, they're making these claims, you know, but like they have to do these things
Well,
because COVID has not been identified or isolated. It hasn't gone through Koch's postulate, which basically, you know, you take the pathogen, you put it through another organism, and it comes out the same as, you know, the initial discovery of the pathogen. So I mean, so the only reason I'm able to like kind of keep my shit together is like they're making a lot of claims, and but they have to prove it.
but here's the thing though. Eventually, they are gonna like Dr. Frankenstein this shit together. Like they are gonna do this at some point. Like you fuck around with this stuff long enough, they will do it.
Right. But I mean, again, yeah, you know, the
The
big
fact like
boogeyman.
the fact that they're even trying is that should be honestly that's horrible. The fact that they are even fucking around with this shit, like just why don't we just fucking destroy it if we can? Why are we messing around with this stuff? They constantly talk about, oh well, it's scientific experimentation. Like we need to learn as much as we can about like this and that. It's like, for what purpose? For what purpose?
Right. But again, like, you know, I'm such a little shithead that I was like, yeah, okay, fine, release it, see what happens, because
No, like I said,
supposedly, like the worst of the worst, like COVID-19, like what did it do? All it did was kill the old people. All right, and we have the numbers now, and it's like, yeah, this thing was a very picky eater. It only killed like the most severely immunocompromised people, and like the response was worse than the actual disease. I think at this point we can all rest assured and admit that much at least. So and I think like after all the tabulations, like allegedly COVID-19 was no worse than any other seasonal flu.
true. Like I said, I'm not. I'm not saying like that like they've achieved anything yet, but this is what they want to do,
Right.
and that's bad enough.
Right. I mean, if it ever got to the point where like it'll like the super bug comes out and it's like indiscriminately killing people, yes, get the ropes ready, get the guillotine ready. We'll make an example out of them. But
I don't know.
again, I'm such a little shithead. I'll be like, all right, go ahead, do it, see what happens.
I'm all for like Minority reporting this shit, dude. Like, just fucking kill them all.
Pre-crime.
Fuck these people, dude.
Yeah, that guy's response was so hilarious. He was freaking out so hard.
Is this real life?
He's freaking out so damn hard. He called the cops saying like, I feel unsafe.
Oh.
Oh, jeez. Too good.
Was he trying to Ferris Bueller himself out of that situation? Well,
I think so, yeah.
well, I'm gonna call the cops. There's a Cameron on the other line. It's like, this is Sergeant Peterson.
Oh man. Good stuff.
Good lord.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, these people are sick and demented. You know,
Now,
and they're very pathetic.
now, have they achieved their goal? You're right. You're right, Andy. They have not achieved their goal. I think that's something that we should celebrate.
Mm.
But the fact that they're even trying and attempting this shit, that should fucking terrify people. And we should like stop. Like, wait a second. No, there should be some pushback on that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
There
of course.
needs to
I don't
be.
want them. I don't want them to make superbugs, right? And if they're able to make a superbug that's super indiscriminate and just kills everybody it comes in contact with, then yes, let's let's heat up the tar. Let's get ready the feathers. Let's sharpen up that guillotine blade.
But and like you said, like the fact that you have the CEO of like what, one of the if not the one of the largest pharmaceutical manufacturers, Pfizer, that is
Pfizer.
funding and working on this research because they are profiting off of this. Do you know how much money did they make off of this whole fucking debacle?
Well, I mean, how much did we pay for it? A lot. Because
Yeah,
again, the U.S. government bought all the doses with our tax dollars.
Right. Exactly. We, we are. Those guys made billions of fucking dollars. It just, yeah, and it's. I think that, like I said, I'm all for the Minority Report, pre-crime bullshit with these people. It's just like that is fucking evil. That's literally what they're trying to do. They're literally trying to pull off Mission Impossible 2, like with the Chimera and what the hell was the
Bellerophon.
but yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I know it doesn't roll off the tongue very easily.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Chimera rolls off the tongue. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's literally what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great work by Project Veritas. They really do some great investigative journalism. God damn, like those guys.
I know. Dude, I just want to meet like their undercovers, particularly the women.
God damn, like they probably have some of the hottest fucking women working for them.
I know, it's like how, because like the when they got the Twitter guys or like the YouTube guys that like admit to like shadow banning and stuff like that. Like, damn, like how nice are your tits? Like how nice is your rack? Don't be modest.
Yeah,
be honest.
Man, like that pussy must be amazing. Good lord, well, I'm sure they didn't give it up to those people, but like, goddamn,
right.
like you must look
because they're especially the tech guys, they're such nerds that's like you don't even have to do anything. You just have to like make hints and innuendos, and they'll cream their pants.
Yeah, you have to like just like wear like a super low cut shirt, short skirt, and like just. Oh my god, you're so amazing! Like, tell me about your job.
Oh my god, you're like censoring people? That's hot.
Dude.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree. I want to meet those people too. It's like
I want to meet these undercovers.
It's like you are doing God's work.
I know. You miss are doing the Lord's work.
Exactly. But no, like I said, these guys do a great fucking job. Honestly, like they are one of the few entities that are actually doing some real fucking journalism. Like, because it's not easy. It's actually really dangerous what they're doing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's just as dangerous as if like they were cops and they're getting they're dropped in into a cartel or a gang or a mafia family. It's no
exactly.
different. It's literally no different.
Yeah, it's fucking dangerous, and yet they get these amazing stories, and it's like they get people to expose the truth,
Mm-hmm.
and that's that says a lot. Yeah, and James O'Keefe talks about it, it's like, honestly, like we get people all the time that are just like they're tired of like what they are being forced to do, and like we create
Oh
a
yeah,
space.
like the whistleblowers too. Yeah.
Yeah, like he that guy busts his ass to like protect whistleblowers and to help like, hey, let's we'll protect you, like, let's get this done, let's expose the truth. And it's not easy. It's not easy on the people that are whistleblowing. It's not easy on the people, on his investigators that are on this, and like these undercover people. It's not easy. That's that's really fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a lot of courage.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate what
more power to them. More power to them.
yeah, like I said, I appreciate what those guys do, and this is just like, and this is a news story. Like, who else talked about this? Nobody.
Yeah,
Nobody on the
nobody.
mainstream
Yeah,
media.
everyone on the mainstream
Didn't Fox
media.
News talk about it? I don't think so.
If they did, it was like they covered it very briefly and not not super in depth. They didn't bring James O'Keefe on to talk about it, and they didn't send like their own guy to go and ask this uh,
Verify.
verify. Yeah.
It's so this is like of course, so no one's talking about it on the news, but to me this is huge news. It, like I said, maybe they probably haven't done what they're trying to do, which is great. I'm glad that I hope that they never accomplish anything that they want. Um, but the fact that they're even trying is evil,
Mm.
because what they're
Yeah.
trying to do
Well,
is
let's
they're
just
trying to
hope
create
that they kill them. They kill themselves before they even get close.
because they are trying to create a profit. They're trying to destroy society so that they can profit.
Indeed. All right. Anything else on this matter?
No, no,
It feels like because it feels like we're kind of wrapping things up.
that was my final thought on that news topic.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's get into the last topic for discussion, and that is the restructuring of DC over at Warner Brothers. I mean, earlier on it was um, announced that James Gunn would be, kind of taking over like the creative direction for, the DC extended universe. But I think a lot of people and a lot of fans were, you know, were heartened by that news, and then also and they were again extra heartened by the news that Henry Cavill would be reprising his role as Superman in this new James Gunn led franchise, only to have those hopes dashed when a day after Cavill makes his announcement, uh, Warner Brothers comes out and said like, nah, that's all done with. We're not returning to that well. And so even Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot, that's how she pronounced it. Gal Gadot said that she wasn't going to be reprising her role as Wonder Woman, and Ben Affleck would not be returning to reprise his role as Batman. And even Jason Momoa would not be returning as Aquaman after this the second in his franchise um, drops. He's out as well as Aquaman. So there's a lot of there's a lot of anger and spiraling going on within the Kate movie space. And a lot of people initially were upset with James Gunn, thinking that, oh, James Gunn, he's a charlatan. He came in and said like, oh, I'm not going to change I'm not going to recast anybody. But then he goes in and he cans Henry Cavill. But what we learn a few days later is that it was actually the new guy, the new head of uh, what is it, Warner Brothers Discovery. I forget what his name is, but it was his call actually to put a kibosh on like the initial Zack Snyder uh, the Zack Snyder vision of the DCEU.
Man, the problem is like I don't think that like now in some cases it was probably like a terrible casting. Like yeah, the one thing is like guys like Ezra Miller and Amber Heard and probably with like some of the other like choices that they made as far as like well, Amber Heard and Ezra Miller are the big ones because they're so fucking unhinged and crazy, and obviously like we have seen how that's turned out. But overall, the casting was not wrong. Henry Cavill as Superman, fuck, he looked amazing. You have Momoa as Aquaman. I thought he did a halfway decent job in that role. Margot Robbie as as Harley Quinn. Ben Affleck was not a bad Batman, but like we never really got to see that full version of like what he like his version of Batman. We saw him in like certain like little bits and pieces, but we never actually got the full Ben Affleck Batman. So I don't think
Right.
it was like
Especially because you've seen like the year one Batman in Nolan, and we got to see kind of like a mid tier Batman with like Keaton and Val Kilmer, but we never got to see old man Batman. We didn't get to see like the Dark Knight Batman of
right.
who's that comic book artist?
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller. Yeah, we never got to see the Frank Miller Batman, and I think a lot of comic book fans were looking forward to that.
Yeah, and I think that's what they were gonna go for, but it didn't happen. And I think Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, great casting. Now the problem was the writing was not great. That it, like the writing was a little weak on some of these things. Though I people hate on Man of Steel, but to be honest, I actually kind of like Man of Steel. I think it's a good movie. It's not perfect, has its flaws, but overall, I think Man of Steel is a good movie. But yeah, I don't I really don't like the fact that Henry Cavill will not be playing Superman. He's also another one of his properties that he's not going to be doing anymore.
Oh yeah.
Is The Witcher,
Mm-hmm.
which I also think is a huge fucking mistake. But
Right.
it also makes me wonder. I wonder, is it because they don't want Henry Cavill, or is it because he actually has something bigger in mind? Because I think he's going to be the next James Bond.
Maybe if anything, his stint in that movie, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., was his audition tape for being James Bond.
Fuck. He was considered for James Bond, but got beat up by Daniel Craig.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to be Bond at some point. They just felt he was too young at that point,
Right.
so they chose Daniel Craig.
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., that is a good movie too. We need to review that at some point because I
know.
love.
I'm really disappointed because for sure Warner Brothers was going to try to make that into a franchise.
It sure,
No one could convince me otherwise.
It's so
but
good.
It's so good, and I love Henry Cavill in it. I love Armie Hammer in it. I love God, what's her face? She's so hot.
God, yeah.
Alicia Vikander.
Yeah,
she was great in it too.
God
Hugh
damn.
Grant was great in it.
He was.
Yeah, it's like to have like another competing spy sort of genre movie because I mean other than James Bond,
it's different than Mission Impossible, and it's also different from which is also different from James Bond. It's so there's room in the universe to have the Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Exactly
series.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry Cavill is fucking great. I like that.
Great, yeah, as Napoleon. I don't even remember his name, but he was a fantastic. If there were ever a man to play James Bond, it's Henry Cavill.
He would be amazing at it.
Especially if we're trying to get back to that like Connery-esque Bond.
Yeah,
then for sure Henry Cavill's got it.
Henry Cavill is actually a really good actor. I don't think people realize that. He is a good actor. And he has good range too. We saw him in Mission Impossible Fallout as a bad guy. I think he was great in that. He's really good in The Witcher. The Witcher.
I've never watched it, but
Netflix.
Yeah, good things.
He's done a good job, and here's the other thing. He actually cares about what he's doing too. He's actually a fan of The Witcher, like the book series, the game.
Yeah, he's a gaming nerd.
Yeah,
fully self-admitted.
And like I said, he's been in other projects too. We saw a very young version of Henry Cavill in The Count of Monte Cristo a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And that when I was watching an interview with him about his favorite, his favorite roles and stuff like that, he talked about The Count of Monte Cristo. It's yeah, this is where I got my start. This is where I got to work with these established actors, and man, I learned a lot. It was great, and it's so weird because his American accent is so convincing. It's so weird, hearing his actual accent.
I mean, yeah. I mean, just think about it. In Man from U.N.C.L.E., he played an American, and Armie Hammer, who's an American, played a Russian.
Yeah, and it's so convincing. Fuck. So I'm just that movie did not get enough credit for how good it is.
Absolutely, I love The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I was so disappointed when a series or franchise didn't spawn from that.
Now, did you watch the TV series of Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
I have not.
Oh, dude, it's good. Robert Vaughn is in that, I believe. The guy, we know him from Magnificent Seven.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is really good, and but the movie version is so good, and I was so when I watched that, it made me sad because I know that it didn't do well.
Right. That movie is it. That's all we get.
Oh man, it made me sad.
Mm-hmm.
But I was on the ride the entire time. I was yeah, this is a great fucking movie.
Yeah, and I love really good, and the little rivalry they had between themselves, and
yeah,
the one-upsmanship.
and his like smart assness. I love a good smart ass character.
Mm-hmm.
And Henry Cavill, because his American, he's so comfortable with his American accent, like he can play like that good smart ass asshole, and I like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah, with a little bit of smarminess in it.
Yeah, it's great. So, but I
Again,
think
and again, a testament to his ability is that Henry Cavill, a Brit, played an American, while an American played the Russian.
yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I think that he might be. I think he is coming out of these projects because I think he's going for James Bond, and that if he can get that, man, that's I'd be so happy because I am championing for Henry Cavill to be the next James Bond.
Yeah, but I think the Bond franchise needs a cooling off period after Craig.
Oh no, I'm not like it's
Um,
not gonna happen like we're not gonna get like a
right.
Bond
Yeah,
movie.
I'm not expecting a movie next year. Don't get me. That's not what I mean. But yeah, but after Daniel Craig, I think, and especially the way they chose to end, that his particular run, and even like how they ended the character, like I need some distance. I can't. And I know I would love Henry Cavill in the role as James Bond, but I just need some separation. It's kind of
No,
like
no,
I
I
wish I wish they didn't do Joker right away for Suicide Squad. Especially just after like Heath Ledger, because Heath Ledger cast such a long shadow that
fuck you.
it sucked for anybody who came in after him, just by proximity.
Yo, yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Um, but no, I think that DC is honestly like I think James Gunn he thinks he's making the right decision by like let's just distance ourselves from like the Zack Snyder version of things. Like although I think that would have ended up being really good. Um, but there's so many fucking blunders that the DC extended universe made. It's like let's just fucking clear the slate
Yeah, clear the board.
and
But
start over.
but
Let's
do you think ultimately think that it was Gunn's idea?
yeah, I think so. I think it's
Or do you,
the Warner Brothers executive that's kind of like running the show.
uh
He's also responsible for putting Gunn in that position as
right.
well.
So do you think he's taking cover? He's providing
Uh,
covers by saying like, oh, even though it's Gunn's idea, he knows like because he was because the new head of Warner Brothers, he was the one that basically that gave Henry Cavill permission to say that he's coming back as Superman.
God, I see. I still think that's a huge fucking mistake. I really do because God, he looks like Superman.
Yeah, I mean like if you, I mean I know our idea of Superman has been heavily influenced by decades of comics and cartoons and things like that, but it can't be helped. And so like when you think of Superman, like when you see Henry Cavill, you're just like that's Superman.
Yeah,
But back to my question, like, do you think the the new head of Warner Brothers, he's providing Gunn some cover, saying that it was his call to can Cavill when it was really Gunn's
I do.
decision?
I do actually.
Okay.
I think that like because he was before Gunn was like kind of like put in that position, he was already making some of those like kind of big moves. Like he essentially like threw what was it like $100 million away with the Batgirl film. It's like well yeah well fuck this. We're not even gonna show this. Like this is not gonna see the light of day. Which makes me even. I was like, man, this movie is so bad. Like that, I want to see it. Like I almost want to
I know.
see
I'm
it.
curious. Yeah, because especially since a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff like started to leak on like social media, like you had clips of the actress like training like for the fight like choreography and things like that, and like even like some of the prosthetic like bodysuits that that Brendan Fraser wore. It's like because
God, yeah, it's
I
like
think because I think he was playing Bane. Um,
good lord.
but yeah, I just want to watch this movie now out of pure curiosity.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Like it's like I said, I'm so curious, but like yeah, that guy essentially threw away $100 million. Um, just because like this movie's so bad, no one will ever fucking see it.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, which I'm
so
then kind of curious because what happens after the next Shazam movie comes out? Does Zachary Levi and all those kids like get thrown to the wayside too?
that's a good question. Cause yeah, I'm seeing all the new shit. No, I've never seen the first one either.
Mm.
But like yeah, like the second one is coming out, and I wonder if like everyone's getting thrown under the table and like, cause James Gunn does have a good eye for things, but like man, I don't know. I don't know what like they're trying to do. And what I hoping they're gonna do is let's make sure that we not only do we cast well, but we get good writers. We and then we also take our time. Don't try to catch up to Marvel. Don't try to do like what they're doing. Let's do our own thing. And let's make sure that we have good stories, good casting, good actors. Let's make sure that we're doing it the right way.
Mm.
I know the Robert Pattinson and like that whole thing with Batman. That's staying. That like that was a huge hit. It did well in theaters. There's gonna be a second and third one. I think that's already kind of. I think the second one they've already talked about is like that's gonna come out in sometime next year, I believe.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, like so that's they're not gonna touch that. Like they're gonna let that happen. Maybe they'll use the second one as like a connecting, like where they're gonna start connecting stuff. But that's my thing. Is like all you have to do, take it slow, cast well, have good writing, have good stories, and you know what? You will make you'll make it work. And I think James Gunn, he who would have thought that a Guardians of the Galaxy movie would have been fucking good, right? Like,
Mm.
because it's not a super popular comic series.
Right. I
He
mean,
made it like he made it awesome, and
yeah,
like people,
he turned I dare say D-list Marvel characters into at the very least B characters.
exactly. I think, and so I think he might be the guy. He might be the guy that I don't think he's going to try to do something like super silly or like wacky. Um, I think he's gonna. I'm hoping he's gonna do a good job. Hey, let's utilize some of these like lesser known DC characters. Let's try to turn that. Let's try to highlight them a little bit. Let's make good stories with these some of these characters that don't get utilized a lot because I think people are a little burned out on some like the mainstream DC properties.
Oh
We
yeah, I mean yeah, DC's Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
yeah, like
Well,
we've seen
For Batman for sure, like they need to give Batman a rest. But if they want to stay within that same vein, I say that they go with. I say that they give Nightwing a movie,
hell yeah.
right, and do like a real proper Nightwing movie.
Or god damn it, like if we're gonna go like if we want to like change up Batman a little bit, why don't we go as like some of the lesser known uh rogues gallery like Calendar Man or um something like something along those
Or
lines.
Yeah, or if you want
The
to do a
Mad
Batman,
Hatter.
but if you do want to do a Batman movie, but you still want some separation, do Batman Beyond.
Fuck yeah. Oh,
Okay,
dude.
and get
Batman.
Michael Keaton because he's the perfect age to play Old Man Bruce.
Yeah.
All right, do that. All right, dude. Like no one thought that Batman Beyond would have been that beloved, but guess like that cartoon took off, and then they started a comic book for that character.
That, like I said, like yeah, because the animated series came out before the comics. So like, fuck
Mhm.
this. Everyone like really likes this. Let's create a comic series out of this. Um, that was way better than people gave it credit for. Like,
Mhm.
it's so
It's
freaking
so
good.
good. It's like yeah, it's like the proper way to continue on like the whole like the idea of like superheroes as mantles. Even though I
Yeah,
don't, I don't even though I don't believe in that crap. But this was like but Batman Beyond was the right way of doing it
exactly.
in my opinion.
Or yeah, like I said, you utilize some like the rogues gallery that no one no one's the Mad Hatter, Calendar Man, um, some
Oh, you know what? Scarface.
yeah,
Yeah, Scarface and the ventriloquist, dude.
yeah,
And then tie in like a mental health component.
Clayface.
Ooh, Clayface. Yeah, I mean, with like the technology that we have now, Clayface easy, especially like of the same iteration as in BTAS, the
Yeah,
animated series. Then totally doable.
I think it could. I think it could be definitely be done.
Hmm.
We finally got like a decent Riddler for
Hmm.
once. With
Yeah,
this
Paul
most recent.
Dano. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul Dano, who we'll talk about like later on with Prisoners, but like yeah, he did a great fucking job, dude.
Hmm.
He's a good actor.
He surely is. But
Um,
yeah, okay. All right, yeah. Going deep into Batman's rogue gallery, dude. They should. Would it work though? It's already such a good movie, but they should try and do a live action Phantasm, Mask of the Phantasm.
dude, that'd be so freaking good.
I know. I mean, the animated movie is already so good, and I mean,
That that's fucking
I kind of don't want to put it out there just in case like it actually somehow happens, but if they can get like the right again, if they can get the right people on this and get good writing, dude, yeah, a live action Mask of the Phantasm movie that could be legit.
I the other one that I want a like legitimately good Mr. Freeze, like like I said, like the animated series.
Right, not the Arnold Schwarzenegger, ice puns galore version.
Though
The
there
eyes
is
to see you.
what killed off the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
Yeah.
It's like now, did I enjoy the ice puns? Absolutely. But yeah, it's fucking garbage.
I
Like
know.
it's
Yeah,
the one that we get in the animated series, like it's
dude, yeah.
so
That
heartbreaking. It's like
that's
because
yeah, because I think they understood how to do a sympathetic villain. Because
the
in the
right,
animated series, like all of the villains, except for maybe the for the Joker and Ra's al Ghul, are all sympathetic.
yeah.
Like
Well, here's the
Killer
other thing.
Croc's sympathetic, Mad Hatter sympathetic.
Why? Yeah. Why hasn't the Killer Croc been like part of like in like an live action? That would
I
be
mean,
good too.
we got it in Suicide Squad, but
Oh
like yeah,
God, that would
but like proper like Batman story, yes.
like like though. To be honest, I didn't. I didn't hate Killer Croc in Suicide Squad. That movie really is just, it's a mess.
Mm.
The thing that bothers me the most about that movie and why I hate it so much is because it is almost good. It's almost good, but they like just fuck themselves on every single angle with that film, and it just,
Mm.
God, it's fucking horrible.
Mm.
But yeah, like Killer Croc, Clayface, Scarface, Mad Hatter, Calendar Man. Um, I mean, we did get like Ra's al Ghul in like Batman Begins a little bit,
Mm. Mm.
but I would really like to see like with the Lazarus pits and like kind of like the
Oh
stuff that
yeah,
we get
yeah,
in
yeah.
like the animated series a
Dude,
little.
you know what they should do? They should do a League of Assassins.
The Court of Owls. That would be another one
Oh,
for
that
the
would have been
comic.
cool. Yeah, that would also been a cool storyline to adapt. Which would tie in perfectly to my initial idea of a Nightwing movie, because in the comic books, like all the Night Owls are descendants of the Graysons, or like the foot soldiers. The foot soldiers that they use, they're reanimated dead like Graysons.
Fuck yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be really good.
Hmm. Yeah, which again, then you could like make it the folk, like you could adapt the Court of Owls storyline, but then make it about Dick Grayson, and then you can still kind of keep it within the vein of Batman, but then focusing it off on a new character.
Yeah. Oh, man, like I said, I'm hoping that like they're trying to maybe think on a different level. Maybe like, okay, we have like our obviously our important properties that we want to touch on, but we want to let's do stuff with some of these characters that are in these existing properties that no one really talks about. Like, have we had like a Brainiac, um, Superman film in the Superman films, like live action? No. I
No.
think Brainiac would be a great villain to bring
Right.
into
Yeah,
the.
and I particularly enjoy what they did with that character, incorporating him into more of the Superman mythos, making him like the superpowered AI on Krypton. Because in the comic books, like Brainiac is a completely different race. Like
Right. That's what the
he's a.
that's what the Superman animated series did. That was
Mhm,
great, and
mhm,
to me that's more terrifying. That it's like they almost brought about their own destruction because
mhm.
the AI that they created
Yeah, and
that
wholly
was supposed to
depended on.
protect them to warn them chose to like fucking destroy them to save
Mhm.
himself.
Right.
That's scary. Oh God.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, there's all sorts of like like these great villains from like the Superman comics. Doomsday did not get what he
No, they
deserved.
didn't do Doomsday right.
Yeah, Batman v Superman should have probably been like 4 movies,
Hmm.
and they shoved it all into one.
Right. But also, we didn't have enough time with Henry Cavill Superman for his death to really have weight.
Exactly.
But
That's what I'm talking about. Like he
yeah,
needed like
yeah,
more movies.
if they again like unused characters, they should do a Cadmus storyline and utilize Superboy.
Agreed.
That'd be cool.
Well, we know that James Gunn listens to us, so
I know, right?
we
Yeah,
expect.
he's an avid fan. He's an avid fan of ours.
Yeah,
So
we
James,
expect
if you're listening, you're welcome for the writers' room session right now.
exactly like these are things that need to be done, and I know you're gonna listen to everything we say and gonna implement
Yeah, and
all.
implement it perfectly.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Although interestingly enough, like because I don't know if you're familiar with this creator, but Doomcop.
no.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's a YouTuber, and he's really plugged into kind of like the showbiz business, the business side of, and like like the rumor mill. But he's always saying that James Gunn is like trying to lure God, what's his name? Jon Favreau. He's trying to lure Jon Favreau away from Disney, and I can understand, and I can see why he says that. And now I'm thinking maybe a stipulation for his placement as head over the DC extended universe was that he could bring Jon Favreau over.
Oh, that would be amazing. Because Favreau is a good director, and he does care about this stuff. That's the thing. Like he because the Star Wars universe was going to absolute shit.
Mm-hmm.
Then he helped create the Mandalorian, and not only did he do that, but he brought on George Lucas. He brought on who's the guy that we also like from
Dave Filoni.
Yeah, Dave Filoni. And like they were creating this like great thing, and then Disney is like, well, we're gonna start messing with that a little bit,
Right.
and
Yeah.
because Kathleen Kennedy I think that she hated the fact that what they created was more popular than what she was working on.
Right.
Because everyone fucking hated the movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'll the whole Rose Tico like action figure in clearance sections. There's another creator, world class bullshitters, but like every single week after, uh, Last Jedi came out, like he would constantly talk about uh, the Rose Tico action figures that were in the clearance section at toy stores and department stores, and just like yeah, because it like the character sucked. Everything, the Last Jedi sucked. The Force Awakens, middle of the road, okay, but still stupid. Rise of Skywalker, stupid, it
She
sucked.
made Jar Jar Binks look like the freaking Conan the Barbarian. Like that.
Right.
Like that's
I know that's a
because
feat that no one thought was possible, but Kathleen Kennedy was able to do it. Yeah, and then she totally sabotaged the second season, no, third season of Mandalorian. Is it third season? But
no.
basically,
Well,
yeah, the most recent,
they're gonna be starting the third season coming up, but it was the second season because they ended
Oh
up.
no, you're right. But she fucked up. Book of Boba Fett, and fucking Robert Rodriguez helped her.
Yep.
That fucking traitor. Because oh yeah, I'm such a fan of Boba Fett, and he made like this concept video using like action figures to see like to show like how Boba Fett would fight against stormtroopers. And yeah, admittedly that was cool. But then he fucking introduced fucking Vespas into Star Wars. Fuck that guy.
It was okay. Like I liked aspects of the Book of Boba Fett, but man, it did not deliver on the concept that we were given based off like Mandalorian season 2. And Favreau was so pissed at, like what they did with Gina Carano,
Yeah,
and like
dude, like yeah, he was so pissed off at what they did with Book of Boba Fett that he had to take an episode from the first season of the third season of Mandalorian and put it into Book of Boba Fett.
to make it like
Yeah, that whole thing, that whole the penultimate episode where it just they diverse to the Mando. That was supposed to be in the one of the probably the first episode of season 3.
honestly, I hope that James Gunn does lure him away at this point, because I know that Favreau likes this stuff. I think that he will do a good job, and if they are he is allowed to like um if they stay out of his fucking way, he's gonna create an awesome whatever he's put on. doesn't matter if it's Superman or Wonder Woman or the Flash or whatever. He's gonna create fucking gold.
Absolutely.
And but
Absolutely.
like I said, I hope that they give him like the coolest character. Like, hey, you're gonna be the next. Well, he's probably not gonna be the Batman director because I think Matt Reeves is still attached with the
Yeah.
new. Yeah, he's gonna be attached with that.
Mm.
But man, give give him a crack at like Superman.
Mm. Oh yeah, John Favreau. He'd kill it. He'd kill it.
He would. That guy doesn't get enough credit as a director. He is so freaking good.
Dude, like he created the Marvel formula. All right, like Iron Man 1, that's I know, and like Disney took it and just like ran with it. That's the formula. He created that formula. He created the MCU.
Yeah. He's a great character actor that became like an even better director.
Yeah, I mean it's not surprising. It's kind of like all of like the bench or backup players that end up becoming great coaches. You
Exactly.
know.
Yeah, his directing is amazing. He's so good. He's actually directed a lot more than people realize too. Like it's not just like the Marvel stuff that he's done or the Star Wars stuff that he's done, but he's
Or
directed
Elf.
a lot.
Yeah, yeah, he did the Chef, which is one of my personal favorites.
I have never seen it.
It's great. It's like you should watch it.
Okay. I trust your judgment because you introduced me to Pool Hall Junkies and Best
Yeah,
of the Best. So
yeah. I mean, is it at those levels? I mean, I'm gonna be honest and say not, in my opinion, not necessarily, but it's still a really great movie, and um, like the meta commentary that he's making about about film and TV through the allegory of cooking is great.
but yeah, that's all I have to say. Like I am cautiously optimistic that like DC will maybe turn things around. Who knows?
Mm.
It's it's really tough. And I wonder if fans of DC are like, oh, here we go again. We're gonna start all over, and or we're gonna have to go through this all over again.
Mm.
Is it gonna work? We just don't know.
Right.
But I think that if James Gunn is given a lot of leeway and allowed to do something like I think he can do a good. I think he will do a good job.
I would tend to agree with you.
Like I said, who would have thought that Guardians of the Galaxy would be interesting, much
Mm.
less a good movie?
Right.
And I
Yeah,
am kind of
absolutely.
curious to watch the. Did he do the? He did do the third one,
Yeah,
right? Like
he did the third one. Yeah, I think
so.
that was his last thing under Disney.
Yeah, I am really curious to see how that goes. Hell, I wonder if he maybe cast Chris Pratt in like one of his films for the DC.
Oh well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Chris Pratt's contract is finished up with this third Guardians movie, so maybe.
Maybe we'll see him in a role of some
Yeah.
sort. Like maybe see him as a villain.
Ooh,
Change it up a little bit.
change it up a bit. Okay, if they, yeah, I'm just trying to go through my mind like in terms of super villains, like for Superman, like who he would. Dude, what if he played Metallo?
Oh shit! Yes, that would be a great
Yeah,
Superman villain.
I could see Chris Pratt as Metallo.
Oh man,
And again, another a Superman villain that doesn't really get touched on a lot.
that's another one that doesn't get that. That would be great. Metallo, yes. I would love to see Chris Pratt as Metallo. And because he always plays the hero and shit. So like
Yeah,
why
exactly.
not have him as a villain this time? I think that's more, and see here's the thing. That becomes more shocking because you're like kind of like how we saw Henry Fonda in Once Upon a Time in the West. He played all these heroes, right? And yet you see him in this role where he's a fucking dick,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so memorable. Same thing with like Harrison Ford, always playing the hero. Yet you watch him in like What Lies Beneath, and he's the biggest fucking dick character in the end.
Mm.
He's the evil person.
Right.
Shocking.
Shut
Chris Pratt playing a villain would be amazing. I think that would be a big shocker, and it would, make audiences like, "Whoa, he can do that! I didn't know he had that gear."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I could totally see it.
Mm. All right. Okay. I think yeah. Nothing else. Nothing. Anything else to add to that? Or?
No, no, no. I am ready to get to the Prisoners review.
All right. Yep. Okay. We're to. Let's begin our movie review. And just to remind you folks, if you haven't read it from the title, tonight's movie review is on Prisoners from 2013, starring Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Terrence Howard, a lot of famous people, and a lot of upcoming famous people. Let me hit y'all with the synopsis, and we'll get going. All right. Prisoners.
I'm gonna go pee real quick.
All right, I'll give the synopsis and we'll get going. Keller Dover faces a parent's worst nightmare when his 6-year-old daughter, Anna, and her friend go missing. The only lead is an old motorhome that had been parked on their street. The head of the investigation, Detective Loki, arrests the driver, but a lack of evidence forces Loki to release his only suspect, Dover, knowing that his daughter's life is at stake, decides that he has no choice but to take matters into his own hands. This movie came out again in 2013. Was directed by Denis Villeneuve. You know, of Blade Runner 2049 and Doom's fame. Again, starring a star-studded cast. Jake Gyllenhaal, Hugh Jackman, Terrence Howard, Viola Davis, a still relatively young Paul Dano, and actually the kid from what's it? 13 Reasons Why.
And The Maze and Goosebumps, which is actually that movie's much better than people realize. That's a good movie.
Is that the one with Jack Black?
Yes, it's good.
Who plays R.L. Stein?
Yes, it's really good. But yeah, he's in your favorite show, 13 Reasons Why.
13, yeah, Dylan Minnette. I mean, nothing against the kid, but I hated that show.
No kidding.
Nothing personal against the kid, but I hated that show. What a way to round out Revenge Month.
Okay, was this the first time that you had watched Prisoners?
This was the first time I watched Prisoners. Though I was aware of it, I just never got around to watching it.
Yeah, I actually had watched this back in December. I had heard about it. I had never heard of it, and I was like, man, this is a star-studded movie. I didn't realize that this movie was out. And then when we realized we actually had like one more week in January, I was like, oh, we should this movie is perfect for Revenge Month.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I just this movie has everything. Like there's a line by Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Loki,
Detective Loki, yeah.
Detective Loki, um, where Keller Dover says like, "Hey, why didn't you mention?" Or he said like, "Why didn't you mention that you had, this apartment building?" Like, it's like, "Well, I didn't think it really mattered." It's like everything matters. Well, that line is the key to the movie. Everything in this movie matters.
Mm-hmm.
There is no throwaway character, no throwaway line, no throwaway anything. It all matters, and everything kind of connects, whether you realize it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And so we start off with like the horrible tragedy of on Thanksgiving, you have the Dover family and the Birch family together on Thanksgiving, and their two youngest kids, their two young daughters, are both kidnapped. And the setup is like you have this RV that pulls up in front of this house, and we are like, okay, what's this RV doing here? And the two girls want to like jump on the RV and like climb the ladder and all this stuff, which is a little weird, but like it's okay, get off the freaking RV. There's somebody in there. Like, don't just leave them alone. Don't mess with it. So, but then you have the Dover girl, Anna, who is like, well, I gotta find my red whistle that's been missing for 100 days, and so her and Joy
Yeah.
Birch go over
Oh,
to
yeah,
try to.
and yeah, really quickly, just about when you said, nothing's a throwaway line in here. But yeah, like even I don't want to give away too much, but like, well, we're reviewing it. But even like the house that the the RV is initially parked in front of
That's not
is
a throwaway
significant.
house.
It's not a
That's
throwaway house.
Yeah, because you find out later that house was where it was the first crime of like the fucked up couple that was. It's just like, whoa, whoa,
Yeah, and
that's the
like
house.
and even the character of interestingly enough, Alex Jones played by Paul Dano, like how significant he is.
God damn, yeah. And so it's like, I felt like it's almost like Keller Dover,
Mm-hmm.
because his revenge is again. He thinks that like he is going after the kidnapper. That
Mm-hmm.
Alex Jones, which I think is a very, I think it's. Do you think that was done on purpose that they called him Alex Jones?
I don't know. This movie came out in 2013, and he's hasn't hadn't like broken through into like mainstream consciousness.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, it just seemed a lot. I was like, oh wow, that's okay. But
Right.
anyways, so they made him like, like where he's like he is coming off as like this retarded, has this retarded IQ. That he's like he has the IQ of a 10-year-old. The lie detector doesn't work on him because he doesn't understand the questions. And to be honest, lie detectors don't work
Yeah,
regardless.
lie detectors are bullshit, anyways.
Yeah, it's bullshit science. Um, but anyways, you have this kid who like, but then like he all of a sudden like says something significant, or he snaps into
Yeah,
something significant, and it's like, fuck yeah, I know you fucking know, I know you fucking know. And like, so you think that he's playing games, like, oh, he's just playing stupid, but like he's actually like this mastermind.
diabolical. Yeah.
When in reality, he is a person that what like God knows what trauma that was inflicted upon this person. Based off like what we know is the twist,
Mm-hmm.
that he was actually the first victim,
Mm-hmm.
not the perpetrator.
Mm-hmm.
He was the victim that was kidnapped 26 years ago, that we
Mm-hmm.
find out about. Like he
Right, and
was,
his actual name is Barry something or other.
yeah, Barry something like, but like when you figure that out, it's like, oh shit. But like, here's the thing: is like, I wonder, like, because he chokes the shit out of that dog, right? So you're thinking like, oh well, that sounds like a serial killer
Yeah, but I
thing.
think that's a red herring though.
No, here's what I think. That so somewhere deep within his conscience, he knows who he is because he knows he's like, well, yeah, I'm not Alex, I'm someone else. Like he does say that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he knows what's her face is not his aunt, and like he knows that uh he's been broken obviously, but like he
Right.
knows that like that's not his family.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you that dog belongs to her, not him.
Right.
So I think that he chokes because he can't do it to
Right.
her.
It's transference. It's
It's
transference.
transference. He does that to her. That's like
To
him,
her.
like
Her.
going, choking the shit out of her
Mm-hmm.
for what he's inflicted. Now he doesn't. I think he's kind of going in and out of like actual, like his mental
Awareness.
break.
Yeah, awareness.
But yeah, I did you think that? Like, did you see that in that moment?
I didn't actually, but I did think that was really fucking weird. Um,
I think that
and
makes
I
that.
did, and I didn't necessarily think anything of it until you brought that up and how like because he's not Alex Jones, he's Barry, whatever his last name is, and that like that's him, that's Barry expressing himself, and doing that transference, saying like this is what I want to do to you, Holly. You took me away from my family.
It makes so
And
to
so,
me it makes
so that makes
sense.
sense. That does make sense. That does make sense. Um, although
Uh,
man, like how broken must he have been? Because it's not as though
they
Holly
broke
took
those kids.
no.
They,
But it's not as though Holly took them away like some far off place from where they used to live. They were still within the same town.
God, yeah, that's what's fucked up, right? Well, no, so they did kill kids. So
Mm-hmm.
outside of
That
like, so Barry was the replacement for the
for
child
their
that they lost.
for Holly and I forget the husband's name, but like their kid.
Yeah. And then you have the other guy. What the hell was his name?
Uh,
It was Bob Taylor, right?
Bob Taylor, yeah, Bob Taylor.
Yeah, Bob Taylor. What the fuck happened to him?
Right. He was one of theirs, and I think maybe he was a backup to
Because they
Alex
apparently
slash Barry.
they were kidnapped like around the same time, right?
Right. But either like they were able to turn because it seemed like he was trying to help Holly, and so maybe like the abuser, the abused become the abuser, and so maybe he was trying to help them, and he was helping them, because he was the one that was collecting uh, the clothes to make it seem like the girls were murdered.
Yeah. So that's the one thing I couldn't figure out in the film. Like, what was Bob Taylor trying to do? Because obviously, like that was also a red herring that like, oh, maybe he's the guy that kidnapped them. He was
Mm-hmm.
working with Alex, and but like that's obviously not the case. He was broken too. Like he was one of the kidnap victims.
Mm-hmm.
What was he trying to do? Like, was he trying to like recreate to figure out who actually took him?
No.
Because so here's the thing, nothing is a throwaway in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's the so we see like the book of the book The Invisible Man,
Mm-hmm.
and like the story of like how like the guy that like knows that he was like kidnapped, but he doesn't remember anything, and he's trying to figure out who it is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what like I'm thinking like that Bob is trying to figure out what exactly happened to him, because he doesn't remember, because he's been so drugged up and so fucked up that he doesn't know what happened, but he remembers like the mazes, and he remembers like all this other stuff that went on, the snakes and like the the trunks and like whatever like that they were keeping these kids in.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. No. But like, because he broke into their homes and he took us. You know, it's towards the end, it's revealed that when Hugh Jackman character Keller finds his daughter's sock outside the house, he realized that someone came in and took the sock and used it to make it seem as though
But
his
why?
his daughter. It could have been cover, because I don't necessarily think they were trying to kill the kids, but I think
No, here's the thing though. Like, I think
maybe
it.
they were part of a network where
No,
people who like lost their kids or whatever and like they replaced them.
no. Here's what I think it was going on, based off of like what we see in the film. Uh, Barry, who ends up becoming Alex Jones,
Hmm.
he was the replacement for the son that they lost.
Right.
Bob Taylor, maybe that was like gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be our second son that we're gonna
Right.
kidnap because we don't want to have like the whole cancer. Our real son had cancer, so maybe that's gonna happen to another son if we do it the real way.
Hmm.
So we're gonna have another son. We're just gonna kidnap him.
Hmm.
But I think then, so Bob Taylor was their second victim. I
Hmm.
think
Right.
he escaped, but like who knows
Right.
after
Because
how
Holly
long?
said like, oh, I forgot all about Bob Taylor.
Yeah. So
So
here's
he
what I think
escaped.
happened. Yeah, here's what I think happened. After that, after he escaped, they're like, oh well, this is where they created this like wage against God thing, where like, okay, well we're gonna like target kids of devout families who are like believers and whatever, and we're gonna turn them into the monsters, and but we're gonna we're gonna kill their kids, and like we're gonna screw them over just like God screwed us over. It was a target against. They essentially they weren't fighting other people, they were fighting God.
Right. 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 Right.
And that was their whole thing because they
Hmm.
hated God.
Yeah. For
And so
taking their
like, oh,
boy.
yeah, so that was what they were going for. So I think that every kid after Bob Taylor,
Hmm.
until Joy escaped, was murdered.
Okay. But
And they
it still seemed like he was trying to help them, or help Holly by going into the the Dover's house to get Anna's sock, or to go into the Birch house to
no,
get
see,
clothes for.
no, I see. Here's the thing. I don't think so. I don't think that's now that I've watched it twice, and I've read up on some stuff about it, and I actually don't think that's the case. The fact that like there's nothing a throwaway. That book, The Invisible Man, that's
Hmm.
there,
Hmm.
which I don't know if that's a real book or not, but
Right.
anyways, you had the one guy's like, oh well, everything in there has been discredited. It's like, well, and Loki is like, what? No, it hasn't. It's like this kid, this person, like, because I don't think that he believes that. He knows that there's something weird about him, but I don't know if he necessarily, as the evidence started to come up, he's like, I don't think this guy's the killer. There's something there that we're missing. Is a
Hmm.
missing piece, and that book is a missing piece. Like the Invisible Man, uh, the idea of trying to, that kid Bob Taylor had been so drugged up and like uh, abused and drugged up that he doesn't remember who took him. He knows that he was taken. He doesn't remember, and his mind is broken, so he doesn't remember his family. Doesn't, but he also doesn't remember who took him. But he knows somebody took him, And so he is trying to recreate what is in his broken brain of like stuff that happened. And he's like, oh, he when he probably hears about those girls that were taken, he's like, that sounds like something that happened to me. I'm gonna break into their houses and I'm gonna try to like something in his mind is broken, but like it's also trying to do some sort of like Columbo detective work. And I think it just comes up in some fucked up way where it looks like he is you know with the kidnappers and he's not. That's the only
Hmm.
part of this that is the one character in the movie that I can't quite 100% figure out. He's the most mysterious character in the film, Bob Taylor.
Maybe. Yeah, he does throw like a wrench in the works because all of his actions seem as though like he's abetting Holly Jones. Like
Yeah.
making it seem like the kids got murdered. So like they stopped looking for them.
But now when you mention that, it's like it does make sense that he's trying to help them too. It is one of those things that it
Right, and
could
that
I
and
think
like
it could either way.
him in the station like drawing like the map, but it's really a maze. That could be him like giving Holly time to dispose of the latest
Okay.
right, and ultimately he kills himself. Like you don't do that if you're trying to figure out who like what happened to you. Like he might know like what happened to him. And maybe he was still like maybe the husband, I forget what his name is, but Holly's husband, maybe he found them out later and then he kind of like brought him into the whole enterprise.
So do you think like Bob Taylor's in like a Renfield in a sense? Like he is like a
I
if
mean,
you think that he's helping them uh to like capture these kids, like is he the Renfield then?
I think to an extent, yes.
Interesting. Okay. I could maybe see that. Um so here's the other thing. Like kind of going back towards the beginning of the movie.
Mhm.
Um What? Well, first of all, let's talk about like Keller Dover, like played by Hugh Jackman. What do you think of his character? Like, what? How do you like him? Do you sympathize with him? Like, what? How do you feel about him?
Well, in terms of like a father, yes, I understand the panic, the panic that he must be feeling. Um, missing his child, and someone who's basically a prepper. Who goes hunting. He gets his own meat. He has like all these supplies in case of emergency. He's very like self-reliant. Um, but I don't necessarily see him uh, going rogue, as it were, to go to the lengths of like beating Alex, and then like ultimately torturing him to like find out.
Oh, dude, I totally disagree. Like, I can I totally buy it. To be honest, I was like
Okay, I mean,
this.
I'm not,
So
I'm not, I may not be explaining myself correctly, but there just seems like a disconnect to his character that like I can't like fully accept. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like him, like being like this rugged kind of individual type, and like the police are being of no help. And then like the police just let off like one of the prime suspects. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I get the drive to then take matters into your own hand, especially since he is like one of those like self-sufficient types. But there's
he's
just
like,
something about his character that just doesn't feel like there's just something off about his character. Like
really?
that doesn't
I
feel that doesn't that for me doesn't feel like fully realized.
Wow, really? Okay.
Right, and it may just be as simple as like the kind of like very paper thin like religious undertones to his character that aren't really well executed or
Yeah, you're
realized.
right. That part isn't well executed. Like we don't get like the idea that he's a super religious guy.
Mm,
Um, but although like obviously that is an element to the film, but it doesn't. That is not a good payoff.
mm.
No, I totally buy the fact that like he has that like he snaps. It's
Right.
like
Yeah. Again,
sorry,
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't explaining myself correctly.
yeah,
But
you and I are not fathers, obviously, but
right.
like trust me, like if it was my kid
Mm,
and I felt like this guy was just he was faking it and he
mm.
knew like where my kids were and he was released from like the cops were like, well, he's just not capable of
Yeah,
understanding
he's
blah blah
not
blah.
competent. Yeah, he's not competent,
Like,
and
fuck
we
that.
take this test that even we don't believe, is reliable, but
Yeah,
but
and like
we're totally gonna let him go based on that test.
yeah, and but then when you confront him, he says some shit like he's like, well, they only
Yeah,
cried when I left them. It's like
yeah,
what?
yeah.
Yeah. And then you see like, and then and then Keller Dover, he goes over to like Alex's place and like he's waiting for, he's just observing, and he sees him. He not only does he fucking torture that dog,
Hmm.
but then he also sings the
Yeah, the
Batman the
jingle
Animated
bells.
version of Jingle Bells,
Yeah.
like those two girls were.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna fuck this kid, fuck this guy up, and I'm gonna find out where, because this guy knows where my kids are,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna fuck him up. And like I said, what he says to Terrence Howard's character, it's like he's not a human anymore.
Hmm.
It's
Right.
like it's like, so don't feel bad for him.
Hmm.
It's like we're gonna get the information that we need so that our daughters will be safe.
Hmm.
And oh my god, Terrence Howard's character is such a fucking pussy. All right,
Hmm.
he's such a
Yeah.
fucking crybaby pussy.
Yeah, he is.
God damn, like,
Yeah,
and it's
no.
like because I like the guy,
Right,
but
I
it's
like
like
Terrence Howard too, but yeah, in this role, he was such a cuck little
such a
bitch.
fucking whipped bitch pussy.
It's like, no, I don't know. It's like,
Oh,
dude, my guy, your daughter is missing, and this guy knows something.
which he technically did.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, so here's the thing that I propose, because I watched this with my wife,
Mm-hmm.
which and she loved the film too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think that it's because of what Alex, or I'm sorry, because of Keller kidnapping and torturing Alex for information? I think that ultimately leads to the eventual capture of the real monster, the real killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because had that not happened, um, I don't know if Loki would have quite figured out what was going on. Like, as far as like, I don't know if he would have stumbled upon the fact that Alex's aunt was the real culprit.
Say that again one more time. If they didn't,
So
If Keller didn't kidnap Alex, then Loki would not have figured out everything out.
so so think about it. So obviously this is Revenge Month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keller is getting revenge on Alex. He's beating the shit out of this guy,
Right. Mm-hmm.
for and he's getting little bits of information. It's like, my name's not Alex. It's like they didn't cry until I left them. All these like just little nuggets, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
I know you know something, you little fucker, but like I don't know what it is yet. You just tell me, and I'll stop doing this. Tell me. But he doesn't know that this kid is completely fucked up. Like he's been tortured his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
But so the scene after Joy, so the Terrence Howard and Viola Davis's daughter,
Mm-hmm.
Joy, the Birch's daughter,
Yeah.
she escapes
And
and
she
she
escapes.
is rescued and stuff like that. And so when I first watched this, I was like, this scene is very confusing as far as like when she said like, "You were there, I saw you," and so you're
Did she
thinking
say
like,
I saw you, or did she say you were there?
yeah, well, I think it was like you were. I don't know if it was both or if it was just you
I
were there.
because I just remember her saying that you were there. So like she probably heard his voice. And it's like
Yeah, and we're thinking because Loki is asking like, oh, maybe were you involved with like your daughter's like disappearance? Um, and so we're thinking like, fuck, was he there? Like was he
right,
involved
but
at
but
all?
yeah, but Keller immediately knew what she was talking about.
But yeah, when you watch it a second time, knowing the twist of the film,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, that's when he figures out. It's like the only place that like I know where my daughter is. It's like, and the only place it could be is back at
The Joneses
at,
place.
at the Joneses place. And it's like, oh, watching it the second time is like, oh fuck. And so everyone else is like, well, so the Birches and his wife and Keller's wife are like super confused, like, what the fuck is going on? And like the police are thinking like, oh, he's involved somehow, like let's stop him.
Mm-hmm.
But Loki knows like there's something going on at the apartment building he's been going to. He's not getting drunk. There's something that he knows, he
Right.
suspects that there's something happening.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he
Although I
finds
have to admit that the Keller character played that off perfectly when Loki was following him to the apartment, but he
dude,
double
that's
jacked, dude,
fucking
and then like, yeah, that was perfect. He played it perfectly.
yeah. So he played that part perfectly. Um but like but like Loki's smart. He knows that there's something going on, right? But he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know what it is. But then when he runs from the police, so we know that Keller is going over to the Joneses place,
Mm-hmm.
but Loki initially is like, "Oh, I know where you're
Yeah,
going,"
he thinks he's going to the apartment.
and that's where he discovers Alex. And it's like, okay, well, he's obviously kidnapped and tortured this person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's gonna, and Keller is gonna go to prison.
Yeah.
That's just that is the consequence,
Right,
unfortunately.
and yeah, and he's the type of man where he like completely he's good with it.
Yeah. Um. So but it's because like when the captain says that like, hey, you go check in with the Joneses and like let them know that we found Alex and all this stuff. It's like, no, I'm gonna go after Dover, after Keller. It's like, no, 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 just do this, it's okay. That's like that's where the case really. So we know Keller is a step ahead of the cops.
Mm-hmm.
He's a step
Yeah,
ahead of Loki in this sense. um and yet had Keller not tortured Alex, but he had kind of sort of figured out about like let's say like it just stopped at like him confronting Alex in the parking lot, right? But he
mm-hmm.
still goes over like later on to apologize and all that stuff, and then Joy gets rescued, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I heard you were there, and he figures it out. Okay, well, now had he not like tortured and kidnapped and tortured Alex for information, and obviously had like all this suspicious activity that like Loki is like, wait a second, what is Keller doing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that one, Anna doesn't survive, Keller doesn't survive, and um, she
Oh,
just
they all end up dead.
Yeah, everyone ends up dead, and the killings keep going on with these kids.
Mhm.
That's my point. I think that like while what Keller does is fucked up and
Mhm.
it's reprehensible,
Mhm.
ultimately it gets the
It
job
saves his
done.
daughter. Yeah, it saves his daughter. Which
And I'm
really,
a
which as a father, that's the only thing he cares about.
if it honestly if I was a dad and if my kid was like kidnapped and it took me torturing someone to get my kid back, I would 100% do that.
Mm. Right. Actually, you're right because I mean, Holly Jones is an old lady, and so she would need Alex's help to help move the kids around and hold them down at when she injects them with whatever and or drugs them or whatever. And so without that, and that's why Joy was able to escape because Alex wasn't there to help wrangle them in.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So like Alex, while he is innocent, he's like he's unwillingly he's unknowingly like helping
Mm-hmm.
because his mind is so broken. He like I said, he has the mind of a 10-year-old almost.
Right. Yeah. He
Um,
probably from when he initially got kidnapped.
yeah.
He did immature, but like
Here's the thing
yeah,
though.
he was able to
I
get he was able to like learn to drive a car or whatever. But mentally, he's still 10. And
well,
kind of in the same way as Batman. Batman like he's a grown ass adult. He's able to talk and drive a car and run a business whatever. But mentally, he is 8 years old.
yep. Um, it's yeah. This movie is so fascinating because there's the characters. All the characters are interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah, and I
there
mean we didn't even go like over everybody. Like there's like the drunk priest.
who
Um,
so we did talk about this on Saturday a little bit.
mhm.
So I did some digging.
Uh-huh.
That priest was a pedophile. So
Okay, so
Loki
like
said,
the backstory is that he is a pedophile.
yeah. So Loki said that there was three pedophiles, high high profile pedophiles
Mm-hmm.
that were within the area. He goes to two.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is the priest,
Mm-hmm.
and but Loki knows who the priest is because he was in the boarding house
Yeah, the boys'
that
home.
this priest ran.
Because Loki's an orphan.
Yeah, which is so it makes me wonder: was Loki raped as a kid? Was he like was he um was he attacked by this guy as a kid? Which is why it
Well,
makes me wonder.
given his neck and knuckle tattoos, I would say that he was messed up for a bit.
Yeah, I think he's over it now,
Yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
he's
He got
trying to
over it.
make some good in the world. He's trying to do some good in the world by being a
Mhm,
detective and like trying
mhm,
to stop people like that priest.
mhm,
But I have a feeling that yeah, he was attacked by this priest,
mhm.
or at the very least, like his very close friends were.
Right, yeah, or he was witness to rapes,
Yes,
if not raped himself.
but yeah, but like somehow, some way, maybe this is the crazy thing. Like this priest who it diddles kids and like does horrible things to them, yet has this guy who I don't know if that guy if he comes to his house or if he if he who knows like how this happened. This guy comes to him like for a confession, right? And with with Polly saying like, "Oh, my husband left 5 years ago without a word."
Hmm.
That that is a 5-year-old corpse that's in that basement.
Right. Yeah.
But like, who knows? Like, what was the reasoning? Why did he go there? What happened?
Right. Was it just like, his conscience finally won out? Or was it that, he, got loaded at the bar or whatever and it's like, you know what, just for laughs, I'm going to go make a confession.
Yeah. God, who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. But it must, whether or not, like, the things that this priest heard from this man was so egregious that he felt, that it was his moral obligation to end this guy's life, or Mr.
And that's
Jones's life.
like when a pedophile doesn't like what you do. God
Mhm.
damn, you fucked up.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
um,
So yeah.
I yeah, this movie like the other thing I like about this movie too is that like now the whole movie is a fucking downer, but
Mhm.
it does end with a somewhat like good feeling, yet at the
Mhm.
same time it's not a good feeling because you know that those two girls are fucked up for life.
Mhm.
Like essentially Anna is she's nonverbal almost.
Right. She's not as talkative or bubbly as she once was, and she probably never will be.
No. And same thing with Joy. I don't think Joy is going to be anything. She's probably going to, seek out horrible things in her life that are
Mhm.
not good for her. And it's goddamn, it's just such a shame. But like I find that aspect of the movie like I said, it does end on a happy note, but it's not happy because you also have Keller who discovers Polly is the actual kidnapper, and
Mhm.
he takes that weird like LSD ketamine mix Coca
Mhm.
Cola and is shot in the leg and stuffed in a hole
Mhm.
and is just like waiting for death.
Right. But there is a whistle.
But
Anna's
there's
whistle.
this whistle, and he is able to hear that there are people above him,
Mhm.
but he waits, and so instead of wasting his energy because he's running out of energy,
Mhm.
he waits until like all the generators are turned off and the lights, and that's when he starts blowing his whistle.
Mhm.
And Loki does hear it,
Right.
and I like how the fact that it didn't end with like Dover being like dragged out of the hole and rescued and all that stuff. No, you see like the couple of like whistle blows from like Dover down in the pit,
And then you
uh,
hear Loki kind of
coming
like
over from the pit,
cocks his ear towards the
and then
direction
Loki
of the
saying,
car.
yeah, and I think that there is a rescue, and it's like it's that, and that's kind of it. Like
Mhm.
I I like how it ended. This movie's great, dude. I like everything about this movie.
Mhm.
There's a couple like nitpicks I have, but overall I think it's a great film.
Right.
And like I said, none of you and we're not dads. We
Mhm.
don't we who knows like what we would go, but like
Yeah. How far we would go.
but yeah, I kind of understand what Keller is going through. Like I'm going this person is not human. He knows where our daughters are at. So we're
Mhm.
gonna fuck him up, and we're gonna find out.
Exactly.
And honestly, like I don't disagree with that. I'm sorry. I maybe that's a bad thing.
Mhm.
I think people who diddle kids should have a shotgun-sized hole in their crotch. Um, and I know you are like, vengeance is the Lord's. It's like what, but man, when it comes to kids, like it just pisses me off big time.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't, I hope people don't mistake my, reliance on the Lord as my not feeling anger or,
No,
desire to
no,
inflict harm.
I don't take that at all.
No, yeah, but I just want to make that clear. But just kind of like in the position of Keller Dover, like yes, was Alex Jones involved in his children's disappearance? Yes, but he's he was and was he complicit in their potential harm? Yes, but ultimately, like Alex Jones was also a victim, and it was actually Holly Jones who was the real perpetrator.
Like I
And
said,
so
he
but like what if Keller went to the ultimate extreme and just ended Alex's life? I mean, yes, he was involved, but ultimately it wouldn't.
I don't think Keller was ever gonna kill him. I think he just wanted to like make
Right, but I mean, what if he got to that point though, where it's just like there's like either you're not giving me any more information, then you're useless to me, and like in a bit of in the heat of the moment in frustration, he killed him.
I think he was gonna let him go. I actually really do.
I mean, I think so too, but I know I'm talking I'm talking about a hypothetical, but what if he had gone to that point where it's just like his desperation got the better of him, and and his desperation and his anger got to the better of him, and he ends up killing Alex.
No, yeah, that could have happened. You're
Right,
right.
but then ultimately, like it's like he's not punishing like the actual person responsible. Um,
Yeah, and that see, this is where I think like that's maybe like where the revenge aspect of this film is like, yeah, he's not right there, like because
mhm,
he's close, sure, but he's not right.
yeah.
But the
Or you
fuck,
could say like, is he right? Yes, but he isn't justified in what he
yeah,
does.
and the fucked up part of the film is that had that not been done,
Hmm.
the real killer would have not been, or the
Yeah,
real,
the real killer would have gotten away.
and that's the part of the
But I
film that
mean,
is so uncomfortable to me
mhm,
because it's like, ah, man, it just leaves you with this uncomfortable feeling. It's like he's not right, but damn, had he not done that, it would not have turned out well.
well, yeah, and that's why I put it like he's right, but he's not justified. Is he right about Alex's
That's
involvement? But yes, but he's not justified in what he does to Alex.
you know what you are. I think that's the best way to put this film. You're right, but not justified.
Hmm.
So why don't we give our ratings for Prisoners? Because I have nothing else to really add.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I gotta watch this movie again because
it's really good.
yeah,
When you watch it a second time, when you know the twist, it's like you start to notice more details.
right, yeah, right,
And
yeah.
because I was like, man, is it? I was worried watching it a second time because like, is this gonna hold up? Like, knowing what I know, is
Hmm.
it gonna hold up? Is it gonna be good? God damn, dude, it's so good. It's so good. Um, so why don't you give your rating first, Andy? Like, what did you think about Prisoners?
Prisoners. I thought it was good. I really enjoyed the movie. Dennis
Villeneuve,
Villeneuve. Villeneuve, yeah, he really knows how to create atmosphere. You know,
he's a great director, dude.
he really knows how to develop. He is really able to create like this, drop you in this world that feels like very much lived in, and like it could actually exist.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, this movie was great. Again, there's no throwaways in this movie. Um, the only thing I give it is, again, kind of like an underdeveloped main character in Keller Dover. Um, there's a religious component to his character, which I don't think is fully actualized. And so, because like, yeah, you have him, like, in the beginning do like the Lord's Prayer, and and like you make him come up as a very like kind of religious person, but like there's only one real time where he kind of like stops, and gets down and prays, as opposed to.
Notice how he doesn't finish the Lord's Prayer though,
That's true, yeah.
because he can't bring himself to like, you know,
Right, because at the end it's
trespasses
ultimately.
while we forgive those who trespass. He couldn't say the trespass against us because he couldn't forgive what he felt that Alex had done to his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't finish it.
Mm-hmm. Right, and then even towards the end of the prayer, where it goes, for thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. That's ultimately, letting God be God. That's ultimately vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, because
Yeah,
everything is God's, and that also means like his desire for vengeance. That's God's, and God is the one who's supposed to take care of it.
exactly.
Um, but yeah, just like and yeah, it's the like kind of underdeveloped and not fully actualized character. I'm gonna ding the movie for that. But I'm still gonna give it a pretty high rating, and I'm gonna give it a 4.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna be slightly higher than you. But like I said, there's like two or three things that like are to me aren't fully actualized in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like you said, not Keller Dover. To be honest, I did buy the fact of his like religious kind of like background.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, like I said, there's a few things like Bob Taylor that I'm not so sure about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's like a few like things just like that where I'm like, I'm not, how does this? It doesn't feel like it fully fits. So I'm gonna come
Right.
in.
Yeah. I mean, if I was to amend, then yeah, the Bob Taylor thing just doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't pan out in a lot of ways.
Why is he breaking into people's houses,
Mm-hmm.
the kidnap victims, and why did he shoot himself if he wasn't like involved, right?
Yeah, yeah. If it was your theory of him like trying to figure out who did this to him and piecing together the missing parts of his life, then why is he constantly buying children's clothes at the department store? Why is he breaking in to get specific clothes of these girls? And then putting him in the pig's blood and making it seem as though like they were dead.
Right, right. But I'll come in slightly higher than you at a 4.5, just because this film is so good, and it's on Netflix right now. It's available for a lot of people. Go check it out. It is really good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, folks, there you have it. That's our review for Prisoners, which will conclude our Revenge Month. I give it a 4. Robert gives it a 4.5. This is a great movie. All of the things we like about this movie still apply. All the things that we criticize for the movie, maybe you find that they're not that big things. But yeah, I mean, if you think that we're wrong, let us know. That's what the comment section is for. So give it a watch, and yeah, let us know.
Yeah, and look out for next month. We're gonna be doing this is the end of Revenge Month. We're gonna start a new theme next week. We're gonna be doing Hollywood Couples Month. So we're gonna do famous Hollywood couples from the golden age of Hollywood. So we're gonna cover movies with Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn, Liz Taylor, and Richard Burton, Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart, and Joanne Woodward and Paul Newman. And we're actually going to be starting with a Paul Newman, Joanna Woodward film, Paris Blues.
Paris Blues.
They
Alright,
were
so we
actually
have...
they were in a lot of films together. They were in like 16 films together. It was crazy.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and actually for most of that,
when do they have time to work on their own stuff?
Yeah, well, and for most of their career, Joanne Woodward was the bigger star. Paul Newman was kind of like a no-namer for until uh, there was just like one day like where it kind of switched. But yeah, Joanne Woodward is a great actress. She doesn't get enough credit. She's really good. But I
Alright,
figured
so...
like doing Paris Blues is a good start because we are gonna after that we're gonna jump into Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, and there's gonna be a connecting tissue between those two films.
Alright. So you guys have that to look forward to next month. With that, that brings us to the end of our stream tonight. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. I know Rob always has a good time.
I always have a good time talking about interesting news topics and great movies. And Prisoners was awesome.
Yeah, don't forget to check out the library of other content we have. Circle Jerk's main podcast, episodes on Nocturnal Transmissions, of course, and Rob's gaming show, Up by Up Down. Don't forget to follow us on our various social media accounts, Twitter and Letterboxd at PodcastCOJ, and Instagram at Circle Jerks Podcast. And with all that said, we thank you for joining us tonight. Come back next week and we'll do it all over again. Have a good one.